from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, CSN Houston brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight it's Game 3 of this 4-game weekend series. The Astros are meeting the first-place Oakland A's. Good evening, everybody. The roof is open. Bill Brown, Alan Ashby, Julia Morales joins us in just a moment. The Oakland A's continue to have that stranglehold on the Astros, Ash. They won all 5 games of the season series so far this year, and they are 25-5 all-time against Houston.
Total dominance. And you'll see with some numbers here, maybe a part of the reason why. On the offensive side, the A's are just clubbing away. In the 5 wins this year, scoring over 8 runs a game. The Astros, 2.5 runs a ball game, 333 to 247. That batting average on each side. Walks. What a huge story that is. And last night, another one of those ball games. The home runs and doubles heavily sided toward the Oakland A's. And, of course, with those numbers going that way, it would tell you that the ERAs are going to flip-flop there. So it has been, again, just total dominance.
So they put a strain on the Astros pitching staff and bullpen. And now, as we look to the remaining 2 games of this weekend series, we check the Astros 2 starters. Tonight, it's lefty Dallas Keuchel, and tomorrow it'll be right-hander Colin McHugh.
A couple of guys who did awfully well their last starts. Colin McHugh, who got that spot started, now is staying on because of how well he spotted in that game. 12 strikeouts as he just totally dominated the Seattle Mariners, a club that wasn't swinging the bats very well, granted. So he'll have a big challenge in this series. Dallas Keuchel also to start that series against King Felix, able to help the Astros win the opener of a 3-game set. Dallas Keuchel was brilliant in his outing. A lot of very well-placed breaking balls.
Brothers in arms, Keuchel and McHugh, are going to try to turn this series around tonight and tomorrow, and those are their recent numbers, and certainly both are very fine with those recent numbers of their last starts. Coming up, it's Julia Morales joining us in just a moment to talk more about the Astros angle and this series and the bad blood in just a moment.
Comcast Sportsnet's presentation of Houston Astros baseball is presented by Jack in the Box. Head to Jack in the Box and try the new Jack's Blazing Chicken Sandwich. It's Jack's hottest sandwich yet.
third game of a 4-game set here in Houston. The Astros hoping to break a streak they have with the A's. The A's continuing to dominate the Astros, but there's been some bad blood brewing between these two teams. You've seen it. Jed Lowry starting with laying down that bunt in Oakland a week ago with his team up 7 runs. Well, we've seen it go back and forth a little bit. The Astros saying that this is over, but obviously, it wasn't. We go to last night. Brandon Moss hit twice in the same inning. Jason Castro saying that had nothing to do with anything, really. They were just trying to pitch him inside there. But Jason Castro was plunked in the bottom of the 9th by Fernando Abad by the A's. And Clemens had been tossed the night before. Bo Porter pleading his case that Abad should have been tossed in this same situation, saying that hit by pitch was intentional. Castro spoke with media after the game saying that last pitch that hit me was not necessary. We had no intention of hitting Brandon Moss twice in the same inning in that situation. So hopefully everything is behind us. Jason Castro surely hopes so, saying that it could get dangerous at this point. Well, it is Jason Castro bobblehead night, and he is very excited about that. He's thrilled, he said, as being an Astro for the past couple years and seeing everyone else get one, he had hoped that maybe one day he'd have one. And there it is. You see it. It's a beauty in the squatting position. Everyone and everything. His parents saying, though, that it looks a little bit more like his brother than it does Jason Castro. But a very cool night for him, and that will be given out to the first 10,000 fans here at Minute Maid Park. Coming up, Jason Castro will be catching Dallas Keuchel as they take on the A's. The Astros offense looking pretty good last night with 10 hits. Let's see if they can do it again tonight. Don't go anywhere. We have first pitch around the break.
Other. Want to take a moment to tell you about our website. CSNHouston.com is really making an effort to enhance your experience. Just go to CSNHouston.com and check out In-Game Live. Not only are there improved stats, Bloomberg stats, really it goes beyond the batting average, but also you can vote for the player of the game. So many choices, whether it's Jose Altuve or Jason Castro on this big day for him, big bobblehead giveaway day. Just go to CSNHouston.com, In-Game Live, and make your choice. The winner is revealed on TV on Astros Postgame Live. Brownie, over to you.
Thanks, Howard. Beautiful night out there as you look in from the Landry's Crawford boxes, and the sun is streaming out over the playing field here at Minute Maid Park. The Astros at home are 3-9. Here's the starting lineup for the visiting Oakland A's. And it's Coco Crisp DHing and leading off tonight. Derek Norris batting second and doing the catching. The number 3 hitter, shortstop Jed Lowry. At third base is Josh Donaldson, the cleanup man, followed by first baseman Alberto Callaspo. Right fielder Josh Reddick, center fielder Craig Gentry, left fielder Brandon Moss, and second baseman Nick Punto.
On the mound for the Astros, it's Dallas Keuchel. The 26-year-old left-hander has been very good in recent starts. In fact, the last 20 total innings of work, 5 runs allowed in that span. So Dallas Keuchel has been spotting it well, keeping guys off base via the walk, and even struck out 8 in his last start, 6 innings at Seattle.
That one snapped an Astros 7-game losing streak. Now he's trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. The Astros take the field with a record of 7-17, while the A's, the first place club in the AL West, are 15-8. And the A's have certainly had the Astros number this year. Now last night the A's had 4-0 and 5-1 leads. The Astros got 4 in the 4th to tie it. It stayed tied until Oakland came up with a 7-run 9th inning to win it 12-5. Oakland won the opener 10-1 on Thursday night, so the A's have had back-to-back very fine offensive evenings in this ballpark. And they're off to a 9-2 start on the road. That ties their best mark since 1990. Keuchel Crisp will be the first man up. Switch hitting DH at 275. 2 homers, 9 runs batted in. Takes the first pitch, and it is ball 1 from Dallas Keuchel. Dallas looking for his first win at home this season. Both of his wins on the road at Toronto and at Seattle. Brings that one in for a strike, and it's a 1-1 strike count.
Maybe trying, like a prize fighter, to gauge what he's going to see from the umpire tonight. That first pitch just off the edge, and then he comes back toward it a bit.
Jerry Meals, the crew chief, is behind the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He's joined by Paul Emmel at first, Toby Bassner at second, and Jordan Baker. Wind is blowing out to left field. That's the normal wind pattern here at Minute Maid Park. And that's out to left center field. That one will be a gapper. Rolling to the bullpen fence. Crisp in with a leadoff double. That's his second 2-base hit of the year.
So here in the series, and I guess over the last year plus between the two clubs, when the A's put it in the air, even if it's not just a bolt line drive, they find the gap, and this was perfectly split in left center.
Now Derek Norris will find a runner at second in Keuchel Crisp, and nobody out. Norris has had a fine series and is hitting .341 for the season with 2 homers, 8 runs batted in, 9 for his last 19. In this series, he's 4 for 5 and has driven in 2.
How about this being just the second double on the year for Keuchel Crisp?
That's hard to believe. Crisp is a threat to steal third. There's strike 1 to Norris. He is 6 for 6 in base stealing this year and has been a tremendous base stealer in his career. Marwin Gonzalez keeping him close at second base. Norris looks at that one. It's a 1-1 strike count. Crisp last year was 21 for 26 in steals, and for his career he's been successful more than 80% of the time. A career total of 284 steals for Keuchel Crisp. He takes off, and the pitch is a ball and no throw. He had a tremendous jump. And Crisp is 7 for 7 in base stealing this year. The pitch was ball 2.
Even with a very early edge off the bag, and you could tell he was going, Dallas Keuchel didn't hear from his infielders, or see there you see right there, it was just way early. And Dallas Keuchel didn't seem to know that Keuchel Crisp was taking off.
And the Astros keep the infielders back with a runner at third, nobody out, and a 2-1 count now on Norris. It's 3 balls, 1 strike with Jed Lowry on deck. Norris is on a 4-game hitting streak right now. Platooning at catcher with John Jaso.
When you're playing well as a club, you step off in that situation as you get the word from everybody, and the A's run themselves into the first out of the game.
Little dribbler. Keuchel going for it. Takes a look back at Crisp. No throw to first. He wanted to make sure Crisp didn't take any liberties, and meanwhile Norris was beating it out for an infield hit.
You know, you have Coco Crisp right in front of you if you're Dallas Keuchel. You see what he's doing, and you also know the speed or lack thereof of Derek Norris going up the line. I would say likely an out was presented there if you plant and make that move to first.
First and third, nobody out, and it's Jed Lowry, the former Astro. Lowry brings good numbers into this game tonight, a .296 batting average. 2 homers, 10 runs batted in, and a .442 on base percentage. That is third best in the American League. And fouls it back, strike one. Lowry has hit .364 against the Astros this season. A switch hitter on a 4-game hitting streak.
Good and or hot clubs make breaks happen. But I will say the Oakland A's right now are seeing everything come their way.
Lowry takes it. It's a ball. 1-1. Lowry from Stanford. He's moved around from the Red Sox to the Astros to the A's in his career. And smacks one into left field. That'll make it 1-0 Oakland. Lowry with another RBI. Norris going first to third. And the throw's cut off by Gonzalez. 3 straight hits out of the gate for Oakland and a 1-0 A's lead. RBI number 11 for Lowry.
He's red hot from both sides of the plate. And it seems that everything he swings at and keeps fair, at least, is a shot to a gap. And I mean, just really swinging it well. It's good hitting.
Now runners at first and third for Josh Donaldson. Donaldson's on a 7-game hitting streak, and during those 7 he's hit .393. Had a major night last night. Donaldson 4 for 8 in this series. 3 homers, 6 runs batted in to get to 7-20 in the home run and RBI department for the season. Donaldson last night drew 2 walks, hit a 2-run homer in the 9th inning. Thursday night he had a pair of home runs, a double, and 2 walks. Donaldson is tied for 3rd in total bases in the American League. It's 1-1 to him.
Look at what Josh Donaldson has been doing, and the long ball has been a big part of what he's been doing here in the series, slamming one after another, and they have been rather prodigious clouds. This guy's an all-star type player, one of the best in the game.
Gonzalez tosses Altuve, the middleman, and it's 6-4-3 with run number 2 scoring. And the Astros getting a double play, so there will be no RBI for Donaldson on that, and it's 2-0 Oakland.
But it speaks again to what the Oakland A's are doing against the Astros. Even when they ground into a double play, they pick up a run, and guys high-five in the dugout. Perfectly turned by the Astros. But again, another tally goes up on the board.
Alberto Callaspo, the batter. Another switch hitter taking strike one. .280 is his average, including 3 homers, 12 runs batted in, and the slash line showing you a good on base percentage and pretty decent slugging as well. He checked his swing. The appeal went down to the first base umpire, Paul Emmel, and it's ball 1. Keuchel's one of the best ground ball pitchers around. That one almost hit him on the back foot. It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Since the 10th of April, Keuchel has a 2.37 ERA, and since last year he's 4th in the majors in ground ball fly ball ratio. Only A.J. Burnett, Garrett Richards, and Justin Masterson are getting more ground balls per fly ball. Now it's 3-1. Callaspo as a DH is hitting .290, and that leads the American League. Keuchel working quickly, and he walks him. 4th base runner of the inning for the A's. Josh Reddick will follow. Last night, Brad Peacock was the starter. He went 5, giving up 3 earned runs. Fred Oberholzer started Thursday night, and he left after 3 2/3. He gave up 6 earned runs. Reddick at 215 with a homer has driven in 5. 10 for his last 24, though. Melvin does a lot of platooning, but Reddick stays in the lineup against the lefty Keuchel. One reason is the injury to Yoenis Cespedes. Cespedes injured his left hamstring stretching for the first base bag Thursday night. Did not play last night. Ground ball into right field. Reddick gets a hit. The 4th hit of the inning. Callaspo to third base.
Defensively for the Astros, none of the balls are going at them, so we'll see how that turns out. Alex Presley in left, Dexter Fowler in center, George Springer in right. On the infield, Matt Dominguez and Marwin Gonzalez getting us started short. Jose Altuve and Mark Krause on the right side. Jason Castro is behind the plate.
And Craig Gentry will be the batter now with runners at first and third. The A's are playing that first to third game here very well in the first inning. 2 runs on 4 hits for them. Gentry at 333 has driven in 1. Former Texas Ranger who was drafted in the 10th round by the Rangers in 06, now 30 years old. He has 3 hits in this series. He's from Fort Smith, Arkansas. Went to the University of Arkansas. Ground ball out to Gonzalez. And on to Altuve for the force play. The A's come out with 2 runs on 4 hits. They leave 2, and they're in front 2-0. Club brought to you by Jack in the Box. Altuve pops out of the box as the leadoff man and second baseman, followed by center fielder Dexter Fowler. It's Jason Castro on his bobblehead night, batting third and catching. The cleanup man is right fielder George Springer, with Mark Krause at first base, Chris Carter the DH, Alex Presley in left field, Matt Dominguez at third base, Marwin Gonzalez at shortstop tonight.
On the mound for the A's, 25-year-old right-hander Dan Straley, 1-1, a 5.40 ERA. He's made a couple of outings starts both against the Astros on his career, and he's 2-0 in that span, working 13 2/3 innings. Dan Straley made his major league debut just a couple of years ago and came on with a bang, but he's been struggling here early this season.
And 2012, he made 7 starts, had a 3.89 ERA. Last year he was 10-8 for the A's. Jose Altuve's had back-to-back 3-hit games. Looking at strike one. Altuve has brought his batting average up to 286. Has no homers, 7 runs batted in. On base percentage has climbed to 343. And he looks at a ball high. It's the 5th time in his career he's had back-to-back 3-hit games. Altuve leads the Astros in hits. that one to third. Josh Donaldson on the run. One out for Straley.
Defensively for the Oakland A's this evening, in the outfield, Greg Gentry's in center. He's flanked by Brandon Moss in left field, Josh Reddick in right. In the infield, left side, Josh Donaldson, Jed Lowry. On the right side, Nick Punto and Alberto Callaspo. And Derek Norris is the receptor tonight.
The receptor.
In case there are any winter ball fans around.
Well, there are some wispy clouds above. A nice evening as Dexter Fowler bats. 224 for Dexter. And there's ball one. Fowler's put together a 6-game hitting streak. He was the leadoff man to open the season. This is the 9th straight game in which he has batted second behind Altuve. He smacks one high to right field. Reddick running out of room. That's a home run for Dexter Fowler into the Astros bullpen. Number 2 is an Astro, and quickly the Astros get a run back to trail 2-1.
Both of those long balls have been right here at Minute Maid Park, both hitting left-handed and both right out in that bullpen area in right center field. So when he unloads, he can really crank it.
Fowler takes the tour, picks up his 4th run, batted in, gets the Astros a quick run back. Straley allows his 6th homer in 22 innings to open the season. Now Jason Castro at 219. After Fowler has put the Astros on the board. Castro leads the league in being hit by pitches. Got drilled again last night. There's a strike. He has 4 homers, 12 runs batted in.
That's the 33rd career home run allowed already by Dan Straley. He just came to the big leagues in 2012 and has worked just over 213 innings.
That's in for a strike. Something of an alarming stat for pitching coach Curt Young. Solo homers won't beat you, baseball people say.
Except in those 2-1 games.
Castro's down on strikes. 2 outs.
Take a look at that swing of Dexter Fowler. Got a very hittable pitch up out over the plate. And that may be the reason Straley has given up the alarming number of home runs already. But Dexter Fowler, long and lanky, can generate some pop on occasions.
George Springer comes up. George 1 for 6 in this series. Looks at ball 1. 179, no homers, 1 RBI for George. Last night he snapped an 0 for 16. Grounded to short. Lowry on to first. 1 run, 1 hit. Fowler goes deep for the Astros' 27th long ball of the year. 2-1 Oakland after 1.
was working for him.
Really has taken a lot of lessons to heart about how to pitch in the big leagues. Thanks, Julia. Strike one to Brandon Moss, the left fielder tonight at 267 with 3 homers, 17 runs batted in for Moss. The infield has shifted around, playing him to pull. Keuchel missing there, and it's a 1-1 count.
Slider appeared to be in the area of catching the outside corner. I'd say one area that is certainly sticking out in terms of stats with Dallas Keuchel would be his ineffectiveness against left-hand hitters. He's already given up 1 hit to the only lefty he's faced. That was Josh Reddick. And he came into play tonight allowing a .348 mark to the lefties.
Moss is 3 for 8 in this series. And the pitch is a ball. That makes it 3-1. There is the breakdown. .348 for the lefties, .246 for the righties.
So he's doing just fine against right-hand hitters. Changeup probably comes into play a bit more. But the left-handers, a lot of left-hand pitchers, and Dallas probably partially in this category, just doesn't feel comfy with the changeup against the left-hand hitters.
Moss was hit by a pitch leading off the 9th inning last night, and that led to a 7-run rally. And then Castro was hit by a pitch in the bottom of the 9th inning. Played on one hop. Gonzalez over to first base, and the shift put Marlin over on the right side of second, taking care of out number 1. Nick Punto will follow. Punto, the second baseman, sharing time there with Eric Sogard at that position. Begins the night at 225. Punto is 1 for 7 in this series. 1 for 11 his last 4 games for Nick. He's also played some short as well as second base. That's strike 1. Oakland, a tough team to beat at 15-8. 1 game ahead of Texas. The Rangers are 14-9, but the Rangers just swept the 3-game series from the A's prior to this one. Line drive speared by Krause. 2 outs.
The way Seattle ended a ball game last night. A line shot off the bat of Adrian Beltre, caught by first baseman Justin Smoke, who dove to the bag or ran to the bag and completed a double play to end it. Really a diving play to his left last night.
Now with 2 down, it's Coco Crisp. He began the game with a double to left center. That is strike 1. Chili Davis is the hitting coach for the Oakland A's. It's an experienced veteran group in the lineup for Chili and for the skipper Bob Melvin. And we've had a chance to chat with them the last couple of nights about these at-bats the Oakland A's hitters have had. And Bob Melvin said that for some reason they just really bear down. Chili said the same thing. In the late innings, their at-bats are tremendous. 2-1. They really didn't put their finger on why the results are better in those late innings, but boy, they speak volumes. They've had 6 wins in their final at bat this year.
Which means to me that it may be a streak that could fall in the category of fluky for the moment.
3-1. They're 4th in runs scored in the American League. They're 2nd in on base average, 3rd in slugging, 3rd in total bases. Very good overall numbers. Little roller. Keuchel goes over to cover. There's Krause with the quick toss, and safe is the call at first. Keuchel telling the umpire there he stepped on the base. Paul Emmel. And now Bo Porter's coming out.
Dallas Keuchel seems to be absolute in his assessment that he got the bag. If he did get the bag, he appeared to beat the runner. We'll see how Bo plays it. Hate to give any break to the Oakland A's because they tend to take a very big advantage with it. Does the side of his foot get the bag? I'd say it likely does, but I don't know if you can confirm that.
Okay.
What'd you think watching that?
It looked like he did get the side of the bag.
Yeah.
Let's see from this view.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, is anybody going to say, yeah, I would say there's really very little doubt that he makes contact there.
Yeah.
So they'll review it. Replay review underway. Consultation with the officials in New York. There are 8 umpires assigned to look at replays of the 15 Major League games every day in New York and consult with these officials on the field. So they'll look at it from different angles. They have about 12 different camera angles, so they'll get that one, probably the last one we saw, Ash, looking maybe in from the right field corner to see more about whether he made contact.
You know, Brownie, there's one aspect of this replay that I really like. Armed with the replay, players, managers, coaches are not getting so violently upset. They're smiling. They're realizing they have an alternative, and they're using it quite well. Although some of these plays where a guy doesn't step on a base, you find that sometimes they don't choose to change it.
My favorite aspect of it is that the fans have been seeing these replays, because that was not allowed before this year.
That is a very big aspect, and I think the fans enjoy being able to do that very much.
But you're right, it's really robbed a lot of arguments on the field. You know, those fans who like to see arguments, they're not seeing nearly as many this year because the word comes down from New York. End of discussion. Let's go back to playing ball.
What do you think? Are we crazy as a society for saying, I want to see the arguments?
Well, they're taking a little extra time, a lot more than it took us for our couple of different angles, but they have different angles.
Yeah, this is the way it kind of looked. You don't have quite the angle that the first base umpire did, but here's the way it looked, and apparently that didn't look like he got the bag. Did to me from that angle. If I were umpiring from the right field foul pole, I think I would have called him out.
And it would be preferable, certainly an easier call, if the pitcher stepped on top of the bag.
Certainly.
It looked like Dallas got rerouted, though. He turned around on his delivery, and out is the call. So he gets the out call he desired. And that makes it a 1-2-3 inning and a 2-1 Oakland lead.
Tweet your photos using hashtag CSNH FanPhoto. This is for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming broadcast. It's the Comcast Sportsnet Fan Photo brought to you by AT&T. And these pictures taken, I believe, this morning. Astros Community Leaders Program. Busy, Brownie.
Busy, and Reed Ryan was there, Bo Porter, Carlos Corporan, and Jose Cruz at that ceremony. The Astros Foundation and the Friedkin Group celebrated the opening of 2 newly revitalized Houston Youth Baseball fields this morning. Mark Krause takes a look at that one. It's ball 1. Krause with 2 homers, 4 runs batted in. Has a 140 batting average, 218 on base percentage. It's high for a ball. Those baseball fields were at Hidalgo Park on JWPV Drive in Houston.
Is that named after one Richard Hidalgo?
Not, well, it might be. Who knows? Probably not. But he should have some fields named after him for his fine career.
You know, I was just kind of reviewing that comment from Chili Davis, the fine hitting coach for the Oakland A's, and how the guys have a tendency of bearing down in late innings and all that sort of things. And they have against the Astros, no doubt. But when you compare what they've done against the league, combining against the Astros, from the 7th to the 9th innings, they've hit just 234.
Interesting. Chris Carter's on deck. Infield shifted around. Krause draws a leadoff walk because I asked both Chili Davis and Bob Melvin, is it only against the Astros that your club does so well in the late innings? They said no. That's the way our hitters work it. We're not, we don't have any great explanation for it, but they are tremendous in working the count, and the fact that they work the count all throughout the game may help them later on because they've seen a number of pitches by the time they come up in the 7th, 8th.
Now, I will say with the low batting average against the league entirely, they have an on-base percentage of .346, so they've been really good in that regard.
Okay. Carter fouls it for strike 1.
I think sometimes when asked questions by the media, a lot of players, coaches, managers have a tendency of seeing through the tunnel that maybe has recently been run through or against a given club, whatever the case may be.
Carter rocks one to left field. That is way up there. Deep to left field for Chris Carter. And Chris Carter, the former Oakland A, has unloaded a 2-run homer. Number 3 of the season, 3-2 Houston. And the Astros, who have been home run dependent for their runs, have scored 3 runs tonight, all on homers.
And Dan Straley continues to have his struggles in that regard. And Chris Carter maybe trying to open that door to success here at Minute Maid Park. Pretty position right there. Cleared that front hip. That provides a good extension through the hitting zone. But like you said, just a towering drive.
Home run number 3 for Carter. 8 runs batted in for Chris. He's been really heating it up going back to this Seattle series prior to this one. 3rd homer this season. All in the last 5 games. Last night he had a single and a double. So Carter, who has been known to go on those tremendous runs, had a great swing on that one. Now it's Alex Presley. 3-2 Houston, and Presley takes a 6-game hitting streak into the batter's box. Presley looks at it. It's ball 1 to Alex. 241, 2 homers, 5 runs batted in for Presley during his 6-game hitting streak. He's 9 for 19. Presley hits one out to right center field. On the run, Gentry. Gentry on the warning track. 1 out. A reminder as you enjoy a cold one to look forward to Miller time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. So the ball is in the air, and Straley having given up those 7 home runs in the early going this season. And you talked about an earlier trend prior to this year. Last year he gave up 16 in 152 innings. That's been an issue for him. At Dominguez next. Dominguez on a 6-game hitting streak. Average up to 238, 4 homers. He's driven in 10. He gets the curveball for strike 1. Well, the Astros, as of 2-3 days ago, were scoring about 60% of their runs on long balls. 1-1.
And in their wins, it's been that combination of good starting pitching and the long ball. And there's really no surprise there. The surprise is that the two have coincided so well.
Lowry comes in. 2 down. This Oakland pitching staff has been superb with the best ERA in the American League coming into this game, 2.67. And even though they've lost
two of the real workhorse starting pitchers, Jared Parker and A.J. Griffin. They have been strong on the mound. Marwin Gonzalez at 250 with 1 homer has 1 RBI. Playing shortstop tonight. Nothing wrong physically with Jonathan VR. He's just getting a rest. And it's strike 1.
And Marwin's played well, whether it be at short or third or whatever the case may be, and like to keep a guy like that going.
It's 1-1. These Oakland starters have kept their opponents to 3 runs or fewer in 20 of their 23 games.
You know, we were talking about the home runs and how they've come in the wins this year. Just 7 wins and yet 18 home runs prior to tonight.
The Astros are 4th in the league in long balls coming into play today. They now have 28 in their first 25 games. Straley with that 1-1 record, a 5.40 ERA, is making his 5th start. 24th round pick in the 09 draft, 25 years old. That's a shot to center field, backing up Gentry. And Gentry's over for out number 3. Chris Carter gives Houston its first lead of the night with a 2-run homer. And it's 3-2 Astros after 2.
Sunday home game at Minute Maid Park this season for Family Sundays, presented by Kroger with the Astros. Make sure to take advantage of special Kroger Family 4-pack for only $75 on select Sunday games. For tickets, 1-877-9-ASTROS or Astros.com.
And tomorrow's the annual Dog Day celebration. Fans are invited to bring their dogs to Minute Maid Park, where they can enjoy a pregame pooch parade on the field and a doggy costume contest. We're trying to talk Ash into bringing his dog. What's the answer to that, Ash?
Well, the answer is it's not likely to happen. I would love it to happen. I just don't know if I can make it happen. Again, he doesn't drive well.
Oh.
And the limo service has refused.
Derek Norris leads it off to 3-2 Astros. There's ball 1 from Dallas Keuchel. Norris got an infield hit in that 2-run Oakland first. That's a foul ball for a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Tonight is the Astros Autism Awareness Day. Tickets to the game were provided for families and volunteers. One family honored during an Autism Speaks pregame ceremony. 2 boys with autism participated in the kids' first call of play ball. Good low breaking ball makes it 1-2 for Dallas Keuchel. $2 from each ticket purchase from a special autism ticket link going to benefit Autism Speaks tonight. Favorite pitches with 2 strikes, fastball and the slider for Dallas. It's 2-2. Bullpen's a little short tonight for Bo Porter because some of the relievers have been pitching a lot recently. So he would certainly welcome a nice lengthy outing for Mr. Keuchel. Off play ball 3, but 2 days off are coming next week. Monday and Thursday will be off days for the Astros.
Dallas Keuchel stands and waits for each pitch until Derek Norris settles in the box.
Sharply, and that's called a fair ball after some indecision by the third base umpire Jordan Baker, and into second base with a double is Norris.
My first reaction was fair ball. Really tough to tell, though, and you get one of those corner umpires with the ball coming right at him. You can understand that momentary confusion. Let's take our peek. Line drive, we're not talking ground ball, so the bag has nothing to do with it. Does it get chalk or not? Ooh, that's really close. That's very much like the ball hit down the right field side by Brandon Moss last night. That one was called a foul ball. You see some chalk hit right there?
Nope.
Really tough to tell.
Third double of the year for Derek Norris, leading it off, and it's Jed Lowry batting. Lowry fouls it for strike 1. Lowry singled in a run in the first inning. As a left-handed hitter, the Astros align themselves into a pull alignment for Lowry, but now batting right-handed, they play him pretty much straight away. In fact, a big hole between shortstop and third base on the left side of the infield for Lowry. But switch hitters are 2 different people. Ground ball knocked down by Keuchel, checks the runner at second, tosses him out, 1 down. Lowry does not advance Norris to third base, and it's Donaldson coming up.
There's a good sign. We actually got Jed Lowry to hit a ball at somebody.
Well, we talked about Dallas Keuchel being a ground ball pitcher. Some of those ground balls in the first inning were not at people. Donaldson, though, did hit into a 6-4-3 double play.
I use that "we" rather loosely right there. I'll take that back.
All right. Well, how many years did you play for the Astros?
Yeah, you know what? How many years since I played for the Astros would be the more important question.
Okay. You're allowed to show your loyalty by those years of service with the ball club.
Feeling it, thanks.
And coaching as well, and managing in the minor leagues. 1 ball, 1 strike. The WAR leaders are Troy Tulowitzki, 1.8. Charlie Blackmon of Colorado. What a major surprise he's been, 1.7, along with Mike Trout. Then Chase Utley, who's injured right now, and Josh Donaldson is 5th with a 1.3 win above replacement number. Back to Keuchel. Well, he's had 2 comebackers from Lowry and Donaldson. So maybe the worm is turning now.
You know, having seen what we've seen with Josh Donaldson, hard to believe that anybody in the galaxy is playing any better than him, but we'll take those numbers for their face value.
You know, while we're on that topic of war
in the galaxy,
yeah, big thanks to all the folks on Twitter and Facebook who get in touch with us and help educate us on some of these new statistics. And we had some of that last night. Alberto Callaspo walked in the first inning. We were talking about that war that you saw for Josh Donaldson last night and why it was so low. Because at the end of the year, the leaders will be what, about 8 or 9?
If it comes down to Mike Trout, it tends to be up in that range.
Yeah. So it was pointed out on Twitter that, well, you know, that's a statistic. It's not a rate statistic like a batting average of .412 here in the 3rd week of April or 4th week of April.
It's a flower that continues to blossom
yes.
throughout the season.
Yes. So yes, it's a fairly low number now, but if you multiply it by what percentage of games we've had this season and the percentage remaining, that would be a tremendous year for Josh Donaldson in WAR.
Still not sure what it's good for.
Okay. 2 balls and a strike. Well, do you think Josh Donaldson sits down with his agent over the winter and says, you know, I'd really like to have a WAR of about 7.9 this year?
I don't know about that, but I'll bet after a good season he says, take a look at the WAR, pal. Make something out of that.
Ground ball to shortstop for Marwin. Gonzalez over to first, and it's no runs despite a leadoff double for the A's and a 3-2 Houston lead.
The A's, and Jose Altuve leading off for the Astros in this inning, but he's been in that leadoff spot for the Astros for the last 9 games now. Originally, Dexter Fowler led off for the club, but because Altuve was the hottest hitter at the time, he bumped Fowler down, and since then, Porter has seen Fowler with more quality at bats, and he's still getting his walks. Both of these guys are still finding their way on base, and Altuve still swinging a hot bat as we take a look at where his hits are going. I want to toss this up to Ash to see what he's been seeing from Altuve at the plate.
You know what? I've been seeing a guy that's hitting the ball sharply. When he's gotten pitches to handle, he's hit line drives. Even sometimes when it's been tough pitches, he's found a way to get some hits. And you can see he's getting the head out. He's hitting some line shots into left field. He's going back up the middle, which a lot of people want to see. And then on occasions, hitting them to right field. Good, solid work by Jose Altuve.
There's the stance and the orange socks. And there's strike one. That's not his best swing of the year right there. He chased one off the plate, takes a little walk. Regrouping time.
Another aspect about Jose, though, is he doesn't let one bad swing impact his at bat. He'll come right back with a good one.
There's 28 hits. That's in the top 6 in the American League. Inside out swing there, and it's 0-2. He has been thumping the ball to left field for a lot of his hits. That was fun sitting down with Julia and looking back through the last 8 games. In those games, Altuve's been the leadoff man, and Fowler's hit behind him. So we were looking up some numbers to see how things had gone, and they've gone pretty well. That's why Bo Porter is leaving it the way it has been. And Fowler has said he doesn't care a whole lot whether he hits first or second. That's a shot on the ground. Good play. Punto. 1 out. Again, a hard hit ball.
Now time. Sorry, Brownie. Now time for the AT&T Rewind, and we're looking at Dexter Fowler and his second long ball on the year. Left-handed. Astros bullpen. We've seen it before. We're likely to see it again. Very nice pop on his part. And a very welcome sight.
Fowler in those last 8 games batting second, has hit .286 and he's had a .444 on base average, and the home run in the first took his hitting streak to 7 games now. Straley delivers, and there's strike one to Fowler at 83. That's a shot. And Gentry's moving over. 2 down.
Well, if I were the one called upon to assess Dexter Fowler, I would say the 8 pounds of lost muscle are back right now. He's swinging it well.
Yep. Straley gets back on the hill after getting the first 2 and faces Jason Castro, who struck out in the first inning.
I use nothing but the finest medical equipment from up here.
Oh, yeah. Castro has driven in 6 in his last 5 games. He's under pressure to produce on his first ever bobblehead night. Never had one in the minors. There's ball 1.
That's huge pressure. I would say Jason took maybe his worst swing of the season as he struck out in the first.
Yeah. Two balls, no strikes.
If sitting at home you've had a bobblehead made of you, you realize on that given night how tough it can be.
How many bobbles have you had?
Well, I shared one with the captain, Milo Hamilton. I just happened to be an addendum to the thing.
When you were playing, that wasn't the thing yet, was it?
Certainly not for me.
2 balls and strike. Anybody? Did they have one of Scotty or Jose Cruz or anybody?
I don't recall. I have a feeling they may have.
I think Cheo was a subject of bobbleheads.
Yeah, probably. It should have been.
Cheo was in the Spanish language radio booth last night. 3 balls and a strike.
I missed him last night. I saw him on the field last night, but he's just, he screams Houston Astros for me.
That's a strike. Oh boy. And it's 3-2. Castro looked back. Home plate umpire Jerry Meals ringing it up.
And what you always want to say as a catcher is both ways. Make that same pitch be a strike both ways.
Swung at that breaking ball. The ball gets away from Norris. Norris will try to throw him out, and he does. That ball caromed up in the air. He barehanded it and then made the throw down to Callaspo for the strikeout and the put out from 2-3. This is strikeout number 2. Here it is.
That breaking ball was not well blocked by Norris, but the quickness to get back there and make the play was good. Just a reminder that every Thursday is Dollar Dog Thursday when the Astros play at home. The next chance to plow through a pile of dollar dogs is May 29th when the Astros take on the Orioles. For tickets, call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com. And the word is they are really good.
They're plowable.
Well, that's what you were telling me when you were crushing a few.
Well, we were looking for those before the game, and we couldn't find them up where we are because the fans were getting all the good ones. But that's okay.
Or they have them in piles of good and not so good?
Couldn't find one up here. Josh Reddick, foul ball, strike one, leading off the fourth inning. Reddick single to right field in the first. 8 ground outs, 1 in the air, and no strikeouts for Dallas Keuchel. That's extreme, but he does have extreme ground ball stats.
3 of those coming after a leadoff double in the third by Norris.
And when you look at that situation, it was really important because the Astros had just taken the lead with the 2-run Carter homer in the second inning, and Norris came right out and got the double to lead off. And then 3 ground balls, 2 back to Keuchel to get him out of trouble. It's 1-2. First opening day roster on a major league club for Dallas Keuchel this year. And the breaker gets him a strikeout of Reddick. That's number 1.
That's what you'd like to see more of from Dallas Keuchel, that ability to make the left-handers look like they're having a very tough time. And this is not the best of swings. Slider put in a good spot down and away will create that kind of poor swing.
Now Craig Gentry steps up. On the edge, and it's strike 1 for Keuchel, shooting for win number 3 of the year. The A's have an overall record of 12-2 in Houston. 0-2 the count. The Astros trying to break through after Oakland has won the first 5 of the season series, scoring 41 runs in those 5 games, unloading 10 homers and drawing more walks than strikeouts. Time called by Gentry. Bob Melvin very adept at using his players. Crisp is still in the lineup, although DHing tonight. Gentry takes over in center where he's excellent. And he'll platoon at catcher and some other spots on the field. Keeps everybody involved.
Yeah, I was thinking about Nick Punto, the right-hand hitter playing at second base tonight against Keuchel, who's allowed left-hand hitters to do so well. Sogard would be the left-hand hitter at second, and yet as a manager you're managing people, and you've got to keep those guys happy and performing in their roles.
Rock him out looking. Number 2. Now it's Brandon Moss. Four hits in the first, 1 hit since. The double by Norris leading off the third. Moss hit a ground ball to shortstop in the second. They shift around on him. He's right up on top of the plate. And a little tap goes back to Keuchel. Whoops, it checked up on him. Now he throws and he still gets him. For a 1-2-3-4. That's 6 Oakland A's in a row retired by Keuchel. 3-2 Houston.
the 4th. Make sure to come see the Astros and A's Sunday, April 27th. Help kids in the Houston community who cannot afford baseball equipment by donating new or used equipment at Minute Maid Park. For tickets, call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com. Guys.
And that pitching matchup for tomorrow is Tommy Malone for Oakland, Colin McHugh for Houston. Thanks, Julia. We hope that those youngsters will soon be receiving some of the equipment that's donated tomorrow. Now we go to the home 4th inning, and it's George Springer.
Colin McHugh?
Yeah. They know now, don't they? Seattle Mariners know Colin McHugh.
Do they ever?
Ball 1 to Springer, who grounded to shortstop in the 1st inning. And he's been hitting a lot of ground balls to the left side of the infield. This one will go left center field. Springer with a bid for his first major league long ball. And Springer does not have it, but he does have a double. Throw goes in and it's cut off, and he scrambles back into second base after a lengthy double, his second as a major leaguer.
And off the bat, he has had a great shot for 3 doubles to this point. Not a huge number, but one taken away by a runner in front of him. But boy, is he fun not only to watch swing the bat, but running between first and second right here. He was just, look at him air it out right away. He knows there's a good chance this doesn't go out of the ballpark. And I mean, he can scoop. It's real easy to stop at second base there. But he was going to try to get the extra 90.
Leadoff double for Springer. Mark Krause has the runner at second. He walked and scored on the Carter homer in the 2nd. Infield shifted around. Krause takes it. It's strike 1.
You know, when you watch Mike Trout run, how it's just kind of awe-inspiring. And certainly we can't measure the speed of the two, but they look very similar.
Carter's on deck. That was hit number 3 for the Astros. Oakland has 5. That's a drive to right field. Springer tagging. Here's the catch by Reddick. Reddick airing it out. Long throw to third, and the tag, and what a throw. Josh Reddick gunning down George Springer at third with a gorgeous throw from right.
Well, there's one of the really good throwers in the game from right field. And I mean, he saved one as good as he's got for this one. I like the effort on the part of George Springer. I think this was well thought out. But he'll probably think a little more about it the next time he tries to burn Reddick. It's close. I don't know.
Donaldson down with that left knee to block Springer off third base. But did he really get him? Well, looked like he did on that replay. And some of the others it did not. Carter takes, and there's ball 1 to Chris on the 9-5 double play. Reddick picks up the outfield assist. That was well earned. That throw had to be perfect to get him.
So what have we learned here? We've learned that catchers cannot block the plate, at least some of the time, but third baseman can.
Yeah. Right.
Well, not they won't block the plate, not many times.
1-2 on the breaking pitch to Carter. Straley got a big lift from his right fielder and third baseman on that play. The Astros, when they elevate the ball off Straley, it is really traveling tonight. But he comes back to strike out Carter after the double play throw. And on an 8-pitch 4th inning, Straley keeps it close, 3-2 Houston.
you. Astros, Dynamo, Rockets, and more. We have all your sports news covered. Check out Sportsnet Central every night at 6:10 and midnight on Comcast Sportsnet. Ronnie?
Thanks, Julia. A lot of sports to follow these days. Corey and Kelly and all the anchors will help you do that on that show. We go to inning number 5. Dallas Keuchel will be working to Punto, Crisp, and Norris. You go back to that play. Springer tagging up on the fly ball to right. Springer is a very aggressive player. It is good to see, as you mentioned, him go ahead and test the arm of Reddick. The throw had to be absolutely perfect to get him. If it's not, he's at third with 1 out.
And again, I'll say it. I like it. If I'm down there and having any impact on George Springer, I say, don't lose that aggressiveness. Make sure about your situation. I think this was a good one. But guys like you are what are going to turn this into a winning ball club. Guys like him are going to be hard to find, though.
Punto takes. There's ball 1. He lined to first his first time up. That's in for a strike. That makes it 1-1. This Oakland club blazing a nice trail through the AL West in the early going. 11-6 in divisional play so far. Foul ball past Mike Gallego makes it 1-2. 6 straight have been retired by Keuchel after the leadoff double by Norris in the third. In Baltimore, the Orioles have the edge on Kansas City. It's 2-1 in the 5th inning. Wei-Yin Chen pitching for Baltimore against Jeremy Guthrie. Reaching for it, he grounds to shortstop. Marlon Gonzalez takes care of the grounder by Punto.
Here's that play by Reddick in right field, getting George Springer. He'll set behind the baseball, move into it, and then that couple of steps very quickly executed in the perfect throw. And Springer makes it a close play. And you can see the tag does get him. But perfection was needed. Reddick came through with perfection. Otherwise, Springer's at third. And a chance to give the Astros another tally.
Crisp led off the game with a double. He stole third and scored on the single by Lowry. Then he grounded out. This one goes to third. And here's the quick throw from Dominguez to get Crisp. 2 outs.
You know what Dallas Keuchel is doing tonight? It's something we talked about last night. You attack the strike zone early and consistently and force the Oakland A's to swing the bat. And if you put those strikes in good locations, you pick yourself up some outs. And he's doing it after a rocky first inning.
That's a great point, Ash. He has thrown 65 pitches, 40 for strikes, 4 2/3 innings so far for Dallas. Derek Norris has an infield hit and a double.
You can talk all you want about game plans, but pitchers can take care of game plans.
Ball 1.
Jason Castro and possibly Dallas Keuchel thought they had a strike right there.
He's been pretty good at hitting corners tonight.
Talking to Castro about last night's game early on for Brad Peacock, and he felt that there were a number of pitches that could have, should have been called strikes that weren't.
Castro might have bought Dallas a call with his framing on that pitch. The count going to 1-1, and the Astros front office reviews all of these and feels that Jason is doing a terrific job of framing, and he's worked on it with members of the front office.
Tell you what also impacts umpires is that close pitch that they call a ball followed by a close pitch that they tend to say, okay, we'll go back and forth on this pair.
They're in the 4th at Chicago, and the Rays lead the White Sox 3-0. Big night for Chicago last night on the game-winning grand slam by Jose Abreu. And a strikeout here makes it a 1-2-3-5. That's strikeout number 3 for Keuchel, who's retired 9 in a row. 3-2 Houston.
Presley coming up first for the Astros, who's been doing what he needs to do to earn a little extra playing time. Bo Porter said he's getting some more days in the lineup because of what he's been able to do. He had a great road trip. You're seeing him in Seattle. He was sick in Oakland, so I should just say Seattle. He was 6 for 12 against the Mariners there. And coming in today, riding a 6-game hitting streak. He told me he wanted to just stay focused on being able to come off the bench as well as start. And according to him, nothing has changed. He's keeping it even keel, guys.
Thanks, Julia. Presley leads it off here in the home 5th inning, 3-2 Astros. Keuchel really pitching well. Presley hit the fly ball to center in the 2nd inning off Straley. Corner infielders are in, mindful of the fact that Presley can't bunt his way on. Alex, a .303 career hitter against Oakland pitching. Strike one with the off-speed stuff from Straley. Brewers are leading the Cubs 3-1 Milwaukee in Milwaukee in the 4th inning. Marco Estrada pitching for them against Travis Wood. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. That Milwaukee club has attracted a whole lot of attention with its early play in the National League. 17-6.
How much do you think having Ryan Braun back with them has impacted that club?
Quite a bit. Ground ball single into center field, and Presley takes his hitting streak to 7 games.
Well, he's been a very pleasant surprise. And I guess some might say, what do you mean surprise? But you know, he's not a big guy. He doesn't have that imposing figure about him. He's played very well.
Now Matt Dominguez. Dominguez hit a grounder to shortstop first time up. Marwin Gonzalez will be next. They leave Domingo a fair amount of territory on the right side of the infield. He looks at strike one. Oakland lost 3-0 to Texas on Wednesday. That was the first time this year the A's have lost a game by more than 2 runs. Throw goes over to first. For the season, the A's have scored 118 runs. They've allowed 76.
5 dominating games they have played against the Astros, though.
1-1.
Of course, they'll play them 19 times, and the Astros have got to find a way to, as you were talking about earlier, get that worm to turn around.
Well, Oakland, as you know, had a stranglehold on Houston last year. So one of the Astros' objectives for this season was to play better against Oakland and Texas. The A's were 15-4 against the Astros a year ago. Ground ball third, Donaldson to second. And there's the turn by Punto, but he throws it away. It kicks back toward the field off the railing. So no extra base will be awarded to Dominguez after the 5-4 force on Presley.
Alex Presley big in terms of staying away from the double play. He goes in hard. Little guys can go in hard, and watch how he does it. It's coming in right there, and that really makes a second baseman think about things. It's all the difference in the world on this play.
And he took some contact. That could be big. Let's see what happens as the inning develops with Marwin Gonzalez now.
Nobody is more physically exposed in this game than a second baseman on that double play turn.
Every now and then you see a big collision there. Gonzalez hit a fly ball to center his first time up. He looks at ball one.
Yeah, ask Greg Biggio. He spent those years catching. When you get banged up, beat up, you can have some pretty good injuries. But at second base, I would think Bidge might say that's where some of the most dangerous opportunities came his way.
It's a good way to describe it. With the runner coming from the backside of the second baseman. Sometimes the second baseman really doesn't know where to find safety in creating a double play pivot.
Imagine bullfighting with your back to the bull. Okay, that's enough.
That's not pretty visualizing that.
No, that kind of mess up your afternoon.
Do bullfighters get paid well?
When they fight with their back to the bull, they do. Of course, the career is not very long.
2 balls, no strikes. No 401k in that profession?
I don't see that they get that. Well, maybe they're just simply hiding that aspect of their income.
Atlanta 4, Cincinnati 1. And they're in the bottom of the 5th inning in Atlanta. That's in for a strike, and it's 2-1. David Hale on the mound for the Braves against Mike Leake for the Reds. Justin Upton has hit his 7th home run. Freddie Freeman, number 6. Evan Gattis, number 6, in those home run crazy Braves. They're really a pitching rich team right now and home run dependent.
Freddie Gonzalez, what a job he's done.
Yes. He had some big time pitching injuries in spring training. Urban Santana has helped that club.
How do you take over for Bobby Cox and make people not worry about the new manager?
Very delicately. 2 balls and 2 strikes. See that play from Escobar, the shortstop for Kansas City, a couple nights ago when the shift was on.
That little pop fly on the left side, foul territory.
Boy,
that was a great effort.
Alcides Escobar. He ran, they said, more distance than the length of a basketball court to make that catch. Swing and a miss, and Marwin strikes out. Strikeout number 4 for Straley.
He didn't have anybody fighting for the rebound with him, but it was nonetheless about as tough a rebound as you'll get.
They were in the shift, and left-handed hitter at the plate.
Okay, you're back of second base. There's
that's a different play.
Yeah.
Okay, good diving play to his left. Yeah, we were talking about a pop-up there with the shift, and he ran all the way from, well, he was shading near second. He ran across the third base line into foul territory for a sliding catch on a pop-up.
Close on over toward the seats. I mean, it was a big time sprint.
Jose Altuve grounded out twice, and that's ball 1. But you know, talking about shifting, that puts infielders in different positions than typically they have been accustomed to playing in. And still, if they have that great range of an Escobar, they can make some fantastic plays. In this case, the third baseman was on the other side of him, so he was the only guy who could have gotten there.
There's a guy that, because he's played in anonymity playing for Kansas City, not many people know about him, but he's one of the really special shortstops.
2-0 to Altuve. Altuve was, you know, Bo Porter was standing by us, Ash, when the Astros were taking batting practice. Altuve was there where the grass ends, where he plays second base when the infield is drawn in. He was trying to get a ball off the bat from the guy who was in the cage. Hit right at him so he could practice that play he didn't make last night in the 9th inning. Smacked it foul.
Speaks volumes, doesn't it? And Bo Porter was watching it, and this wasn't done for Bo Porter or anybody's benefit. This was Jose Altuve being himself and trying to get better. He knew he should have made that play last night, and he wasn't happy with it, and he wanted to make sure it doesn't happen again.
That was a 2-run single off his glove hit by Derek Barton in the 9th inning last night. And he played it to the right, got his glove on it, slowed it down. And then a 3rd run wound up scoring when George Springer's throw got away. So it proved to be a good big play in that game. Altuve started the bat, and the appeal went to first. That's ruled a swing. That makes it 2-2 on the Paul Emmel call. The Mets lead the Marlins 5-1. They've played 4 in New York. Henry Mejia on the mound for the Mets against Kevin Slowey. Bobby Abreu has hit a home run for the Mets.
Back in the big leagues.
Number 1.
Just retire for a while, come on back and start hitting bombs.
Ground ball goes wide of third. Bobby Abreu, who began his career in the Astros system out of their Venezuelan academy, has gone on to a tremendous career and worked his way back through the minor leagues to the big leagues this year.
Well, he was a special player for a long, long time. He's trying to not shed that label.
He hit pretty well in winter ball. And then again in spring training.
Isn't that something? Going and playing winter ball when you decide you still want to play. You don't just take it for granted that, hey, I'm Bobby Abreu.
A roller out to short. Lowry coming after it. Lowry with the transfer. And out at first is the call. Well, Porter's going to come right out. Altuve was bouncing up and down. And Bo's going to buy some time here for his video crew to make a review of this to see if he should challenge the call at first. It would be the third out of the inning. He's looking back into the dugout to get a thumbs up, a thumbs down. And, ooh.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to get this reversed if he challenges it. Unless the heel was on the bag, and I don't know that that video would clarify that.
Close. And he is not going to challenge it. So that's the end of the fifth inning with the score Houston 3, Oakland 2.
Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 12 years. Join the millions of subscribers. Watch every out-of-market game live in True HD on over 400 devices. Visit Astros.com for more details.
We go back to that Escobar play we were talking about, the sliding catch on a foul pop. He's in the shift. Jason Giambi hits this foul pop. Watch how far he runs, Ash.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I think some guys would just quit before the play even really set up. But that is a long, long run trying to come up with a pop fly. He can deal.
Springer runs over right field line. This one is foul off the bat of Lowry. And it's strike one opening the sixth inning. Lowry had the RBI single in the first. Then he grounded back to the pitcher.
That's something, talking about Dallas Keuchel and the way he's pounded the strike zone early and often. And he's got even Jed Lowry and others swinging at the first strikes now.
Yes, they are. You talked about that last night and the night before.
You can do it, but you have to be good in the zone.
0-2. Very disciplined Oakland club, and I was asking Bob Melvin about disciplined types of hitters like Lowry, like some of the other guys in the lineup tonight, and acquiring those players. He said, well, if you notice, we didn't draft a whole lot of these guys, but we traded for some, we signed some as free agents. And yes, that is the type of player we look for. Our general manager, Billy Beane, looks for, and he acquires the players.
You want to beat them? Be ready to throw strikes and good ones.
Strike 3 call. Lowry looking back at Jerry Meals. Strikeout number 4 for Keuchel.
High strike, but it appeared to be in the strike zone right up there around the belt buckle. That's an area that maybe even a little above it, that I would love to see strike zones increase through.
Josh Donaldson bounced into a double play and grounded back to Keuchel.
There's no logic you can present that says a hitter can't deal with that pitch.
First pitch swinging. He grounds to Marlin. 2 outs, and that's 11 straight retired by Keuchel. Callaspo's next. He walked in, he grounded out. Cliff Lee gave up a couple of unearned runs in the first at Arizona. Arizona leads the Phillies 2-0. Bronson Arroyo on the hill for the D-backs. Very slow out of the gate. 8-18. Strike to Callaspo. You think they'll break up the D-backs if they don't turn it around quickly?
Well, you got to wonder. Some people thought they had a chance of winning this year. It doesn't look like that's going to happen.
Strike 2 to Callaspo.
I don't know. Kirk Gibson was viewed as that fiery, tough, hard-nosed leader, and that's just a couple of years ago, and now things are turning the other direction. And of course, now the personality is the reason, for some people, and you can turn any story the way you want.
1-2.
I know there are some who have played for Kirk Gibson who enjoyed the experience, and some who haven't, and probably true for a lot of managers.
Struck him out. That's 5 strikeouts. That's 12 straight retired by Dallas Keuchel, middle of the 6th inning. Houston 3, Oakland 2. Comcast Sportsnet's presentation of Houston Astros baseball is brought to you by AT&T UVerse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PIC-ATT. Rethink possible. Partly cloudy night here in downtown Houston. We got dark in a hurry. Dan Straley on the mound, trailing 3-2. The Astros have Dexter Fowler leading it off in the home 6th inning. He hit a 1-out first inning home run and hit a fly ball to center in the 3rd. That one floats up, and it's strike 1 call.
There's a belief that darkness comes about this time every day, too.
Oh, 0-2.
Get somebody to check into that.
Jeff Blum is researching it right now.
I hope so. On the beach.
That's where he does his deep thinking. 1-2. And pretty soon on the next road trip, which begins, we're here for another week. So after a week from tomorrow, there will be deep thoughts by the Blummer.
Blummer and what was this? I just have his name too. Jack Handy.
Yeah, Jack Handy.
They hang together on the California coastline.
Hey, happy birthday, Blummer. We didn't even know. And Mike Scott, Carol Burnett.
I didn't know that Mike Scott and Blummer had the same birthday.
Who's Whitey Ritterson?
Left-handed pitcher back in 1855.
Equipment manager for the 1855 Boston Bean Eaters.
Whitey Ritterson, that sounds like a manager. He formerly had been a home run hitter before they had fences. Hit 8 one year to lead the league.
You ever call anybody with dark hair Whitey?
I don't know. What did Whitey Ford have as a set of locks?
Sort of blonde. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And there was the affectionate White Rat, Whitey Herzog.
Yeah, it's going to make you feel good about yourself when first person calls you the White Rat.
Whitey Ashburn, Richie Ashburn. A lot of Whiteys in baseball. Fowler's down on strikes. That's number 5. Howard Chen.
All right, Bill. Well, Jason Castro is coming up to bat right now, and it's his night right now because it's Jason Castro bobblehead giveaway night, and that led to our Twitter question. I'm kind of curious. Who do you want to see as the next Astros bobblehead? There's lots of candidates. There's some Astros out there who already had bobbleheads. Jose Altuve and Orbit kind of come to mind. But tweet me at Ho-Chen CSN and explain why you want to see who you do as the next Astros bobblehead. That's Ho-Chen CSN. I read your best tweets on TV. Brownie, back to you.
Thank you, Howard. Jason Castro on his bobblehead night has struck out twice. What's going on here?
Well, Brownie, I got to know who's the next bobblehead for the Astros.
We've got to think this through a little bit. Let's not forget the pitching staff. Let's not forget the relief pitchers. What do you think?
Well, if Dallas Keuchel keeps pitching like this, we need to do it next week.
All right. We'll go for Dallas.
Then there's George Springer, Jose Altuve.
1 ball, 1 strike. Well, all right. Here's the issue. If Dallas Keuchel wins this game tonight, we're nominating him for the next bobblehead.
Colin McHugh.
1-2. Yeah. That signifies that a player has achieved a certain status in the game, right?
Everybody's achieved some certain status.
That's right. 2-2.
Some you don't talk about.
No. Colin McHugh.
Well, now, what status would that accomplish for you?
Well, not sure about that, but he achieved his big-time status with his first start as an Astro. And that strikeout number 6 for Straley. George Springer. What's he done tonight?
He got into one a little bit. Close to being that first Major League home run. Instead, it's his second double. And then he tries to tag on Josh Reddick. And that's been a mistake for a number of people through the years. George is not the first, nor will he be the last.
Now he comes up for the 3rd time. Slider in the dirt, ball 1. We watched that slide a few times into third base, the head first slide. And Donaldson's left knee prevented his right hand from getting to the base. So Donaldson really made that play on his end.
We need a clarification from Tony La Russa.
You know, you bring up a point, though, by saying the catcher is not supposed to block the plate without the ball. Could another player At the plate.
Ooh, that's intriguing. Circle your first baseman who just happens to be wearing shin guards on in.
Foul pop, or, if there's a wild pitch, catcher goes back and gets it. The runner tries to score from third. Can the pitcher? Yeah.
Why is your pitcher wearing full catcher's gear? For no reason.
2 balls and a strike.
Size of Brad Penny.
Oh, boy.
Couldn't drive a Mack truck through there.
Yeah, he would be very good at blocking off the plate. Springer swings, and it's strike 2.
It's a good slider.
Now, they're getting some really good plays with the pitcher blocking the plate down through the years.
There have been some fiascos, too.
Ooh. Spins him out of there. Looks like a slider that didn't really come around, and it's 3-2.
Most managers will say when you practice rundowns and whatever that at all costs keep the pitcher out of the play. Nice job by George, turning in the correct direction.
Haley gets a strikeout. He strikes out the side. That gives him a total of 7, and through 6 it's 3-2 Houston.
And now a look at our pitch-by-pitch brought to you by Steel Dealers. We turn back to the 4th inning. Josh Reddick at the plate leading it off for Oakland, and Dallas Keuchel does a job on him as he tries to improve on his work against left-hand hitters. The slider becomes the big weapon and eventually puts him away. That's a slider that could really turn things around for Dallas Keuchel in terms of how the lefties have hit so high with the batting average.
And now we're going to have a visit to the mound on Dallas Keuchel. Head athletic trainer Nathan Lucero and Bo Porter have come out. Jerome Williams has begun to throw in the Astros bullpen. Keuchel has set down 13 in a row, make it 12 in a row. And Williams getting loose, so they're examining Keuchel right now. And he's going to stay in.
Well, that's good. At least a good sight right now, because Dallas Keuchel has been magnificent since that 2-run first inning put up by the A's.
Not sure what the problem is. Reddick will lead it off.
That last toss looked a bit tentative.
That's strike 1 to Reddick. Reddick single to right, and he struck out. The last 3 innings have all been 9-pitch innings for Dallas Keuchel.
Look at the pacing he's putting on it, too. when given that opportunity, some of the hitters have stepped out and tried to slow things down. But Keuchel making life really nice for his defense.
He might be forcing these hitters into a quicker pace than they want. 1-2, and of course they're allowed to step out, but nonetheless, he hasn't had men on base. He's been into that nice quick rhythm.
Why would anybody want to play a game in under 4 hours like we played last night?
It's a valid question.
4:06, was that the final?
4:06 was the time of last night's game. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Oakland won at 12-5. Oakland had 14 hits. Houston had 11.
Okay, if we get votes, I vote that I didn't find it appealing.
You do get a vote. Votes are being tabulated right now by Price Waterhouse.
We'll keep that thing in the safe for a day or so before letting it out.
We'll have to go to Price Waterhouse to see how many pitches were thrown in that game last night.
200 and it was over 210, 216, something of that nature. It was tidy. Well, I'm giving the figure for Astros pitching.
Yeah. Peacock threw 92. Chavez threw 91, the 2 starters.
I think the A's had in the 160 something neighborhood, if I'm recalling correctly.
We can add them up between innings.
No adding needed.
It was a long inning.
214 for Houston, 148 for the Oakland A's.
Oh boy. So about 360 pitches total.
Yeah, and a lot of walking around and delaying. And
the Astros walked 8 and gave up 14 hits last night.
You have just 8?
Just 8. That's strikeout number 6 for Dallas Keuchel.
Let's see what Dallas does to put away another left-handed bat. I have 6 for Peacock, 2 for Cisnero, and 1 for Bass.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Keuchel is really making things look much better against the left-hand hitters here tonight.
You're right. It was 9 last night.
I didn't want anybody shortchanged.
Well, and you're right in pointing that out, but some of these scorebooks have 5 slots for pitchers, and Bass was pitcher number 6. So his numbers didn't get written down in somebody's scorebook last night. Here's strike 1.
Shortchanged by the scorebook.
Yeah, sloppy scorekeeping. Gentry 0 for 2. How about the Rockets finish last night?
Ooh. Did you stay up and watch that?
No, but it was fun to read about it today and see the highlights.
Fun getting to bed after staying up and watching it.
Surprise ending from the guy who made the game-winning shot, huh?
Played about 200 minutes on the season, something like that.
So there you have the first round developments.
Dirk and the boys, huh?
Yeah.
I actually see the Rockets coming back in this thing.
So does Kevin. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Then again, I saw Custer having a really strong stand.
What do you see happening to Donald Sterling?
Ooh, that's not good.
It's 3 balls, 2 strikes.
I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. That will suffice. Joe Torre is cautioned against the legalization of pine tar.
Yeah, a lot of people saying that everybody's using it anyway, talking about pitchers. Therefore, let's go ahead and legalize. You know, if you do legalize, I can see these guys applying copious amounts of pine tar on the baseballs. And I don't think that's a good idea at all.
Well, here's a suggestion. Let's legalize it only in a few states.
That's a good idea. You know, I think we should start with Colorado first.
Okay.
Yeah. Great Northwest probably would swing into action.
1-out walk, and that was 13 in a row retired by Keuchel. Now his second walk of the night.
This season at Minute Maid Park, every Friday night home game is followed by spectacular fireworks presented by Marathon Oil Corporation. Get tickets today by calling 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com.
It'll be loud. It'll be exciting. Come on out. Now Moss. Moss has grounded out twice. The infield moves around. 12 ground ball outs for Keuchel tonight. Out of the 19 outs. Ball one upstairs for Dallas. Dallas is trying to beat this Oakland club for the first time in his career. He is 0-2 with a 5.48 ERA in 5 games, 3 of them starts. Pitched really well against King Felix and getting that win 7-2 at Seattle last time. Throws a strike there, and it's 1-1. He threw 113 pitches in that game in 6 innings. And now he's gone 6 1/3. He's needed only 95. That's the breakdown.
You see the 1 for 5 for the lefties tonight against Dallas Keuchel, and they had come in hitting .348 against him. The first at bat, that was Reddick in the first inning, a base hit. Since then, 4 consecutive outs.
1-2. The crowd is liking this show, and by the way, the attendance is 17,850 tonight. At beautiful Minute Maid Park. Hope you can make it out tomorrow for a dog day afternoon with Al Pacino. Is Al going to be here?
Al Pacino's involved?
No, he's not involved. That's a little looping fly ball hit into shallow left center field. A single for Moss. First hit since the 3rd inning for Oakland.
The way Dexter Fowler was loping in here, I really thought that Craig Gentry, who runs very well, was going to take off for third. This is one you might want to make sure and sprint on. That's a good slider from Dallas Keuchel. You can't fault him at all. Just very good hitting by Brandon Moss.
Well, Gentry is a weapon with his legs. Now Bo Porter has come out. He's had Jerome Williams warming up. Runners at first and second and 1 out for Keuchel. Nick Punto is due up next. And that's going to be it for Dallas Keuchel. After 97 pitches, 62 for strikes. He leaves with a 3-2 lead. And really a terrific game for Dallas. The Astros fans very appreciative. Williams coming in, 3-2 Houston. Back in a moment.
This moment in history is presented by MD Anderson, making cancer history. And we're talking about Jerome Williams, who's on the mound right now, made his debut on this day 11 years ago with the Giants. And you can see video of him Tossing with a young fan in Seattle, it's something Jerome has been known to do. I've seen him do it here when he was with the Angels, a very cool thing that he does with fans there. But I asked Jerome about this day 11 years ago to see if it sparked any memories. Oh boy, did it come flooding back. It was against the Phillies at the Phillies Old Park Veterans Stadium. He said he was called up to make a spot start. Benito Santiago was catching him. He retired the first 5 batters, and then it got a little out of hand after that. So it brought back good memories and then bad ones, but it's really fun to see how many details these guys remember from days like that, guys.
He's very patient with that youngster who couldn't quite hit his glove, that famous pink glove. He comes in now having pitched 7 games for the Astros. He's 0-1 with a 5.79 ERA, working 14 innings. He's allowed 3 homers, and it's Nick Punto, the switch hitter, batting left, even though Eric Sogard, who plays a lot of second base and bats left, is 7 for 9 in his career against Jerome Williams. Punto stays in the game.
The Astros pitching theme tonight seems to be difficulty with left-hand batters.
Punto is lined to first and grounded to short. Turned back towards second by Jerome. Jerome's a very engaging guy, born in Hawaii. And he was telling us on the bench today, after Bo Porter's session with the media, that he once pitched 18 straight days in relief in Korea. They just kept going to him.
Really?
Yeah.
18 straight days.
Yeah.
Was that like in 1870?
I'm going to ask Julia if that's the correct figure. Was it 13 or was it 18, Julia?
I believe it was 13.
Okay, 13. I was wrong.
Oh, well, now I understand.
Good, though.
Yeah, that was a grievous mistake. He pitched 13 straight days in relief in Korea.
But all multiple innings, too.
Yeah, more than 1 inning each time.
Sounds much more plausible now.
So they just said nothing to him. They just kept sending him out there. And here's the taxed out pen for the Astros. 9 1/3 innings the last 2 days with an ERA of over 10. 8 pitchers used, more than 200 pitches thrown. Jerome Williams pitched in the opener of this series Thursday night.
After about that 5th consecutive appearance, that's when the eephus pitch comes into play.
Well, they finally came to him after his 13th consecutive appearance and said, "You all right to go tomorrow night?" And he said, "No, I think I could use a day off."
Took off his sling on the right arm and said, "I guess I'm okay."
Yeah. Can you imagine that?
No, I can't imagine. Well, you know, in the States, there's no way on earth an organization would attempt that with a guy. It was a very close pitch. No call. Not a big fan of the umpires on the inside corner, and a lot of times well inside of the inside corner. I like the old American League style.
With the balloon chest protector?
Yeah, I did. I like the umpires working behind me as a catcher rather than wrapped around me.
That was fun to watch those guys come out with those balloon chest protectors on.
You know, and you can wear whatever you want to wear if they feel comfortable with what they wear now. There's no rule that says if you stand behind the catcher you have to wear the balloon. Some guys, I've seen a guy or two in recent years stand right behind the catcher.
Line shot left field. There's a hit. Presley charging, getting it on a hop, getting it back in. And the bases are loaded with 1 out on the single by Punto.
Head to head. Now, these Oakland A's have just torn it up in the late innings. Of course, we're talking against the Astros, but the 190 batting average for Houston in the late innings, as opposed to 236 for the Oakland A's. Look at the runs difference, though. 41 for Oakland, 14 for Houston, and the ERAs reflect that in reverse. And 6-1 in those ball games, Oakland on top.
And now Oakland making a push, trailing by 1, bases loaded, 1 out for Coco Crisp. Crisp is 1 for 3. He opened the game with a double. Keuchel watching as Jerome Williams works. And there's strike 1 on Crisp.
That's a really painful watch for a starting pitcher who pitched extremely well if things go the wrong direction.
Well, because right now he's in a position to be the winning pitcher, but the runners at second and third would be charged to Keuchel, so that could shift him to a losing pitcher based on what happens right here.
and after this. Fly ball left field. Presley with the runner tagging at third makes the catch. Here's the throw in toward the infield, and the tying run scores. It's 3-3. Sacrifice fly for Crisp. His 10th run batted in. Gentry scoring the tying run, and Keuchel now cannot be the winning pitcher.
Well, that's too bad. And if you remember the base hit by Brandon Moss that got this, or the walk rather, to Gentry that got it started, Keuchel really battled with him and eventually lost out. Brandon Moss kind of flipped one off the end of the bat, a tough pitch into center field, and that's what got it going.
Now pinch hitting for his catcher Derek Norris. Bob Melvin will go with lefty hitting John Jaso. Jaso is 4 for 13 in his career against Williams. Runners at first and second at 2 outs now. Jaso, a .234 hitter, has 1 homer, 4 runs batted in. As a pinch hitter, he's 2 for 4, including a pinch homer. And the curves in the dirt, ball 1.
That base hit we were talking about from Brandon Moss that chased Dallas Keuchel, just really tough. Maybe not in the strike zone, likely not. And tremendous piece of hitting there by Brandon Moss.
Jaso was 0 for 2 last night, drove in a run, drew a walk. This ball makes it 2 balls, no strikes. Moss is the runner at second. Punto at first. Now 3-0 with Jed Lowry on deck. Williams came in and threw 16 pitches Thursday night, working the 2 hitless innings in relief in the 10-1 Oakland win. 5 of his 7 appearances have been longer than 1 inning for the Astros. Ryan Cook is warming up for Oakland, a right-hander. It's in for a strike, and it's 3-1 to Jaso. Jaso, a career .333 hitter at Minute Maid Park, is 11 for 33. Jerome Williams now 32 years old. He was primarily a starter for the Angels last year. Pitched 12 games in relief. Altuve's out in right field. Strike 2 to Jaso.
That's 3-1 changeup.
Big pitch coming, 3-2, 2 outs. The runner's ready to go. Moss at second, Pinto at first with Lowry on deck. Runners go, and it's grounded foul. Giants beat the Indians today in San Francisco 5-3. Buster Posey at his 5th home run. Bruce Bochy's Giants are 14-10. Pirates down the Cardinals in St. Louis 6-1. Twins beat the Tigers 5-3 at Target Field in Minnesota. Now Castro goes to the mound. Josh Fields will not be used tonight. That's the plan. Nor will Anthony Bass. So perhaps Chad Qualls, if there's a closing situation, will get that opportunity. Cole Porter used his lefty last night, Raul Valdez, and got 4 outs from him.
That was a nice turnaround performance.
It was. 3-2 pitch is foul. Red Sox down the Blue Jays today in Toronto 7-6. Clay Buchholz won his first of the year, beating Brandon Morrow. Koji Uehara got save number 5. Krasinski hit a grand slam, AJ's second home run. Bautista with number 7 for the Jays. Another big 3-2 pitch with 2 outs. And that's strike 3 to end it in the top of the 7th inning. The tying run scores with 2 hits and 2 men left. It's 3-3.
She's with a big group that's here today. Autism Speaks out of Austin, raising awareness for autism. And your son, Chandler, got to tell us, let's play ball before the game. I want to ask you, what was that experience like for him?
He thought it was amazing. His quote was, "It's awesome, Mom."
Well, what are you guys doing here today?
Well, we're out here with Autism Speaks, and we're all glad to be here. There's about 50 of us that came out to enjoy the day. And Autism Speaks is a national organization that focuses on awareness, advocacy, family resources, and research for autism and everyone who's affected.
I hope you guys have a great time. Chandler, enjoy the game. This is scary, our progressive fan of the game, Brownie.
Thank you, Julia. Hope they're having a great time. It seems that they are. And they're watching a 3-3 ball game now. John Jaso, who pinch hit for Derek Norris and struck out to end the top of the inning, stays in to do the catching. He confers with his battery mate, Dan Straley. Straley struck out the side in the 6th inning. And now it'll be Krause, Carter, and Presley due up for the Astros in their 7th inning, with Jaso getting ready to call the game for Straley. Infield shifted around for Krause. Krause walked and rode home on the 2-run Chris Carter homer in the 2nd. And he lined to right, and that started the 9-5 double play with Springer tagging up and being thrown out at third base in the 4th. So a good swing last time up for Krause. He gets a slow pitch at 70 miles per hour for ball 1. Dallas Keuchel in 6 1/3 innings allowed 6 hits, 3 runs, walking 2, fanning 6 through 97 pitches. 67 were strikes. 62 were strikes, rather. Now Straley, who's thrown only 82 pitches, takes a little walk. 51 of his for strikes. That's in the dirt for ball 2. Ryan Cook was warming up in the bullpen for Oakland. Yankees beat the Angels at Yankee Stadium today, 4-3. That's a shot to right center field. Reddick heading over for it. Reddick on the track. 1 down.
Looked like Krause might have been just out in front, maybe off the end of the bat a bit.
Chris Carter belted a 2-run homer in the 2nd inning. Struck out in the fourth. Nationals, who will be here Tuesday and Wednesday nights, shut out the Padres in Washington 4-0 today. A 3-hit shutout for Tanner Roark. He beat Andrew Cashner. There's ball one. Well, we thought we might see Steven Strasburg here Wednesday night, but that will not be the selection for skipper Matt Williams. And it's 2 balls, no strikes. The pitching matchups for that 2-game series after the off day Monday are Tuesday night, Jared Cozart and Gio Gonzalez. Wednesday night, Brett Oberholzer and Jordan Zimmerman.
I know I was looking forward to seeing Strasburg, and I've seen him a couple of times in the past, and he's worth the price of admission. When he's on a given game, really fun to watch.
Pitched well a few days ago in his most recent start. Well, on 3-0, Carter aired it out, but that pitch had movement outside the strike zone, and it's 3 balls and a strike now to Chris. He takes a walk. That's the 12th walk for Carter this year. The Astros' unlikely pitching star heads back to the mound. Altuve and the gang try to get a grip on the A's. Pre-games at 12:30, games at 1 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet. It'll be Colin McHugh, and what a tremendous performance for Colin with no walks and a big strikeout night against the Seattle Mariners in his Astros debut.
Did not allow a run. You mentioned the 12 strikeouts. Well, he was dominating with a variety of breaking balls. Just an outstanding curveball on the night.
12 strikeouts and 6 2/3 for Colin McHugh. Well, we have a pitching change, and Bob Melvin will get his reliever in the game. We'll step aside for this. A base runner, Chris Carter at first. And Ryan Cook has come out of the Oakland bullpen to relieve Dan Straley. Straley threw 89 pitches. Cook, who missed spring training with tendonitis, has come back to have an ERA of 1.35 in 7 games during the regular season with good numbers except for the walks. That's 6 6 2/3 innings. That is high, Ash.
Last pitched 4 days ago, and inning and a third, allowing a hit, no runs in that game. He has gone without allowing a run over his last 4 outings. So he appears to be a pitcher that's dealing pretty well now for the Oakland A's.
Had shoulder tendonitis. It'll be Presley facing him. Presley is 1 for 2. He singled to center in the 5th inning. Oakland has 7 hits. Houston has 4. No errors tonight. The A's have stranded 5. The Astros have left 1. Matt Dominguez on deck as the A's set up a double play depth. This one gets by the catcher Jaso, and that will get Carter to second base.
That almost looked like one where the catcher has his glove blow out, but I think it was just a near whiff job. got to be tempting for Bo Porter to want to utilize a pinch runner right here. But then you've got more game to play, and Carter's starting to swing a big bat.
There's ruled a pass ball on Jaso. Now the infielders drop back. That's called a strike. 1-1.
Keep in mind that you've got Jonathan VR as a potential pinch runner. That's worth considering.
Certainly a point here in the 7th inning of this game. Cook last pitched in the Texas series 4 days ago. Steams it up, but it's not in the strike zone. It's 2 balls and a strike. So Ryan Cook, 26 years old, from Clovis, California, and USC. Drafted by Arizona in 08, traded to Oakland in a multiplayer deal after the 2011 season. He pitched 71 times for the A's last year and had 23 holds. Pulled to second base. Pinto over to first, 2 outs. Carter to third.
That ball was hit sharply, but right at the A's second sacker.
Matt Dominguez is 0 for 2. Cook has pitched well against the Astros in his career with a win and a save in 10 career games and a 1.80 ERA. He had a hitless inning in the 11-3 Oakland win 8 days ago in Oakland. That slider comes in for strike 1. Looked like it might have been high. Home plate umpire Jerry Meals swinging it up. Dominguez 0 for 6 in his career against Cook. Fouled away. No balls, 2 strikes. 96 miles per hour on that Cook heater.
Has 6 plate appearances for Matt against Ryan Cook, and not once reaching base.
Cook has averaged more than 1 strikeout per inning for his career. And that's strike 3 to end the 7th inning with the game tied. Oakland 3 and Houston 3.
Big. Kevin Eschenfelder serves it up every single night on Sports Talk Live at 5 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet.
Well, he'll be cranking it out Monday through Friday. Plenty to talk about this time of year. Maybe a little mock draft talk. It's getting close. The weekend for the Astros, the weekend for the Rockets, other topics. We'll be batting it around with Kevin's show all week long.
Was that football talk I just heard?
A little bit. What are you thinking for that first pick?
Wow. Well, I know what everybody wants. Johnny Manziel has some magic for me. I don't know enough to advise anybody, that's for certain, but something about that kid.
Jerome Williams gave up a single to Punto, then got a sac fly and a strikeout. And now lefty Raul Valdez is getting loose with Jed Lowry leading it off in the 8th inning. Jed 1 for 3, an RBI single in the first. He's not biting. It's ball 1. So both pitchers doing very well as starters for these two clubs tonight. Both going 6 1/3, both giving up 3 earned runs. Ground ball to Krause, drops it and tosses to Jerome Williams, 1 out. So it's a stalemate for Straley and Keuchel. Straley in 6 1/3 allowed 4 hits, 3 runs, walking 2, fanning 7, throwing 89 pitches, 54 for strikes. Now Donaldson, he's hit the ball on the ground all 3 times. Double play ball in the first, ground out to the pitcher in the 3rd, ground out to the shortstop in the 6th. But 6 for 17, 353 lifetime against Williams. Williams, having pitched for the Angels, has faced these Oakland hitters a number of times. That's strike 1. Well, that's a quality strike 1.
It really is. A lot of times you won't get the call there, but right where you'd like to keep it. You go defense in that first pick?
Yeah. 1-1. Try to win games 14-10.
Yeah. It's the likely way they go. I'm not sure that it's a lock as to which defensive player they may go with.
They might go linebacker. Pop back behind the dish. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Now, everybody always says it's a quarterback-driven league.
Yep.
And when there's, I know there's more than one right now, but when there's one that is so intriguing, it just really makes me think.
In another month or so, we'll be honing in on the #1 baseball draft choice. 2 and 2.
I hear there could be changes in the wind.
Oh, really?
There was all the speculation about Rodon with, what is that, North Carolina State?
Yes.
Not so sure he's the guy anymore.
Yeah, that's true. That's been some talk. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Some young kids, high school guys that have great arms and seem to have a pretty good command of the strike zone.
Well, the shift left it open and Donaldson took it. A single to right field for Donaldson, giving him an 8-game hitting streak. He's aboard with 1 out for Callaspo.
I just don't think you can pitch away and have everybody play on the other side. Recent Astros picks in the first round. Delano to Shields, of course, and he's been playing well. Should get back in action soon. Michael Fultonevich, great arm. George Springer now showing in the big leagues. Carlos Correa, boy, what a terrific spring he put together. And Mark Appel last year. Mark Appel having some issues and back in Florida trying to get himself on track. There's some talent there, no doubt.
Callaspo 0 for 2 with a walk, and the throw goes over to first. Donaldson has not attempted a steal.
No quarterbacks in the bunch, but
no.
You play that solid defense and pick up some scoring while you can.
Callaspo 2 for 5 against Williams, who throws over to first. Well, these late inning at bats, we've been talking about it all night. Now it comes down to that for these two clubs. Oakland with 8 hits, Houston with 4 so far. That's in for a strike. Callaspo looking. Reddick on deck. Dominguez far off the line at third. It's 1-1. And Valdez in the bullpen. Lefty hitting Reddick on deck. Valdez, as we mentioned, faced 4 hitters last night, throwing 17 pitches. And another throw to first by Williams. The A's are in the middle of the pack in stolen bases. There's lefty Sean Doolittle. They have 16 as a team, ranking 7th in the American League, but they've only been caught once. In for a strike, and it's 1-2 for Jerome Williams.
Boy, there are bats here in this series that it appears Callaspo's not going to swing the bat until absolutely forced to. And you can't tell me it's waiting until he sees something he likes. It's about taking.
Ground ball, Williams. Gonzalez. And Krause. 1-6-3 double play. Moving to the bottom of the 8th inning. It's tied at 3.
Fans to please vote for your player of the game on our in-game live at csnhouston.com. Right now, currently, the leader is Chris Carter, but the other votes for the different Astros, you have Dallas Keuchel, Dexter Fowler also getting votes. The winner was revealed during postgame on TV during Astros postgame live. Speaking of online, we had a Twitter question about Jason Castro's bobblehead night. We wanted to know who you wanted as the next Astros bobblehead. Jake the Muss tweeted Keuchel, because he's been making pitches, changing speeds with the best of them. And how about Telltales 88? He tweeted Julia Morales bobblehead because she's awesome. That's why, and I have to say, I agree with that. Julia is full of awesome. Thank you very much for tweeting Ho Chen CSN. Brownie, over to you.
Can we get the earrings on the bobblehead, Julia?
There better be earrings on that bobblehead and neon shoes. But this is Jason's. I don't know if y'all can see it that far.
Yes, we can. And
oh my goodness.
Yeah, we need to add the earrings, but we're getting there. We'll still work on this some more.
Yeah, we need to change those shin protectors, those shin guards, where they don't cover the shoes. That just wouldn't work that way.
No.
That's fabulous, guys.
You had not seen that before, correct?
Big thanks to the guys in the truck for that one.
Yeah. Nice.
Good stuff.
You know what? This one does tend to look like the real person, though.
Oh, wow. I got nothing.
I've never seen another one that had such a solid likeness.
Yeah, Sean Doolittle, the veteran lefty who's 27 years old from Rapid City, South Dakota, comes out of the bullpen for the home 8th inning. He's 0-1 with a 3.09 ERA. And has pitched twice this year, scoreless ball against the Astros both times. Marlon Gonzalez smacks one into center field. He jumped all over that first pitch from Doolittle, and he was 0 for 2. Now he's aboard here in the home 8th.
And this, in part, is why Marwin Gonzalez is getting some playing time. And I think he needs to continue. He's really been a good-looking utility player.
Well, he is now 3 for 6, batting right-handed this year. And the switch hitters aboard for Jose Altuve. Altuve's 0 for 3. He's hit the ball on the ground all 3 times. Derek Barton has taken over at first base for Keuchel. Keuchel was 0 for 3 with a walk. Barton comes off the bench a lot to play first in the late innings. 4 sacrifice bunts last year for Altuve, none this year. And that's ball 1. The way he's been swinging the bat, that would be tough to have him sacrifice in this situation.
Now, Marwin Gonzalez doesn't run all that well. What about the hit and run, though, where Altuve seems to have an ability to get the bat on the ball regardless of where it might be?
He takes a strike and it's 1-1. That would be an option. Altuve has hit lefties well this year.
Furthermore, there's a huge gap on that right side. It's not as big as some hitters might see, but Jose has a great ability to go that way.
Altuve lays off, and it's 2-1. Doolittle has not walked anybody this season. 11 2/3 innings. Fowler on deck. That's the most innings anybody has pitched in the majors this year without issuing a walk. He's given up 4 runs in his last 6 2/3 innings. Altuve looks at it. It's ball 3, and it's 3-1 now.
Because there's another way to move the runner up. Just take that first walk issued on the season.
Yeah. Doolittle took a loss Monday night against the Rangers. Foul away, and it's a full count now.
3-2. Do you have the burglar's guts to go ahead and send Marwin here?
That would be a bit gutsy. But Altuve has not struck out tonight. He has struck out 9 times this season. Pretty good chance he's going to make some contact. He goes. Ground ball, and that's by Barton into right field. Gonzalez on to third. On the opposite field, hit by Altuve. Very well done by Altuve. Looked as if Barton might have been able to play it, but it got underneath his mitt.
Yeah, there's some fortune there finally on the Astros side, but clearly Jose Altuve went to that right side. Watch this swing. He's set up and the eyes were there. This is where he's trying to hit the ball. And there are some hitters that can take advantage of holes. Altuve shows that he's one of them.
First and third, nobody out. Dexter Fowler, the batter.
Yeah, I think if you present Jose Altuve and some others a gap somewhere, I think they've got a pretty good shot of putting it there.
That was a terrific job. With the runner moving on the pitch, now Pat Listash, the third base coach, comes down to talk with Fowler. Fowler homered in the first, hit a fly ball in the third, and struck out in the sixth. Porter hoping the Astros could grab the lead again here in the home 8th inning. Nobody currently throwing in the Houston bullpen. The A's gather at the mound with Bob Melvin, their outstanding manager.
Former catcher, I'd like to point out.
That's true. So how will they play it if Altuve takes off for second base? Castro is on deck.
I think they may also be talking about possibilities like any thoughts about walking Fowler? Although I can't imagine that taking place. How do you go about trying to cut down any run here in the inning? What's the best possibility?
We'll see how they play it.
It's nobody out. Now, last year, Bo Porter had a tendency, a strong one, to try that safety squeeze. I can't see that being employed here.
Middle infielders play at double play depth. And there's a throw over first on Altuve.
That was a check and see what might be going on throw.
Lowry and Punto are exchanging some words around second base. Line shot into left field, and Fowler has given the Astros the lead 4-3 with a sharp single. He bangs his hands together on his second hit of the night. Second run batted into the night for Fowler, and his 5th RBI of the year. Gonzalez got it started. He scored the go-ahead run.
How about some balls coming off of Astros bats that are just avoiding the gloves of the A's defense? This is what happens when you do get some kind of a turnaround.
Fowler stung the ball. Now it's Castro with runners at first and second and nobody out, and the Astros hope for a big inning. Astros struck out all 3 times on his bobblehead night. Now facing a lefty who turns towards second. Two for 20 against lefties this year.
He really found that second half last year. Success against left-handers. A little slow in coming this year. It will come.
He looks at it, and it's ball 1 from Doolittle. Luke Gregerson warming up for Oakland. Lefties were hitting 182 against Doolittle when he came into this game tonight. 4 for 22 with no homers, no walks. Springer on deck. That's a strike to Castro. It's 1-1. Julia?
Hey, Brownie. Just letting you guys know that my bobblehead was stolen.
What?
By Carlos Corporon, who took it over there. And since the Castro bobblehead's been sitting over there, they had 2 hits. Corporon came over to tell me I was not getting that thing back. And then Dexter Fowler driving in a run there. There's no way I'm seeing that thing again.
Well, we have one here for you.
Okay, good.
But it doesn't have your face on it.
That's a good luck charm, though, for the Astros.
Yeah. Castro, as that one's in tight, dances out of the way of it. 2-1. Not that baseball players are superstitious in any way.
I've never heard of anything like that in the game.
Zoom in on.
Yeah, if that bobblehead provides a win, that'll be in that same spot again tomorrow night, I assure you.
2-2.
You don't mess with success. And Julia may be asked to sit in the very same spot, wearing the very same clothing.
Yeah. Well, that's happened
we
before.
Don't want that.
You don't want it to go down like that, huh?
What's your record with those shoes, Julia?
Well, I'm not wearing the shoes tonight, but it's the color. I think it's just the neon green.
All right. That's it. What's your record with those earrings?
It's good.
Okay. 3-1 maybe?
Maybe so.
There will be expectations.
Astro cracks a line drive into right field. Altuve is being sent home by Pat Listash, and he'll score to make it 5-3 on the RBI single by Mr. Bobblehead. Jason Castro, he was at 2-2 in the count, and he ripped it to give him a 5-game hitting streak.
Don't mess with the bobblehead. How about that at bat? And maybe the Astros are the team that comes up with the 7-run late inning.
That'll get Doolittle out of the game.
I was watching Jason when he came out of the batter's box. He was glancing immediately to Altuve to see if he was going to score on this shot.
No doubt. Listash sending him home. That's it for Doolittle. Gives up 4 straight hits. And Springer will be the batter. Gregerson's been warming up for Bob Melvin. Bob Melvin's bullpen coming into this game with a 7-5 record and the best ERA of any American League bullpen. So the Astros have broken through against a very good crew.
Yeah. See, it's all about the bobblehead right now.
Okay. It's the bobblehead karma for Jason Castro.
Murphy said I was not getting it back. No way.
Does he know that your face was actually on there at one point?
No, he has no idea.
No clue.
When he finds out, he's going to make sure that that happens each night.
Derek Brock, Jason Castro talk it over at first. Brett Overholzer looking out on the field as the pitching change is made. And the Oakland A's have not had much of this. Late inning problems. Falling behind by 2 now. There's Carlos Corcoran with a message to Julia.
Sorry, Julia. You've been very kind to all of us, but you're not even going to sniff this thing again.
No, that's it for you. Now Luke Gregerson warms up. Gregerson came in the game last night and worked the 8th inning. He then got his first win of the year as Oakland rallied for 7 in the 9th. That makes him 1-1. His ERA is 2.84. 3 saves and 6 save opportunities for Gregerson.
Another one of those heretofore very successful bullpen guys for the A's. But I think we have to say heretofore because the Astros are turning it around.
Well, they put together this rally with 4 straight hits. And now Springer has a chance to really make it an interesting inning. Springer's 1 for 3, a double to left center in the 4th inning. Cole Porter's club up 5-3, 0-5 against Oakland this season.
I can't think of a better time for George Springer to get that first long ball.
He put one in the air to left center, hit it off the base of the bullpen fence back in the 4th inning. Gregerson has a win, the one we talked about last night, and a save in 2 outings against the Astros this season with an ERA of 0. Now the infielders come all the way in with Springer batting. Springer would love any kind of a hit here.
Still nobody out, and I can't see, and for a number of reasons, George Springer being called upon to lay down a safety squeeze.
That's ball 1. Fowler, the runner at third, as he took his lead. Donaldson took a step toward third base to try to cut into that lead a little bit. Springer looks at it. It's a strike, and that makes it 1-1.
That is your launch hanger.
Gregerson, formerly with the San Diego Padres, has had those 3 blown saves as Bob Melvin has shifted his closers. Not chasing there, and it's 2-1. Jim Johnson was the closer to open this season. He was moved out of that spot, and Gregerson has had a few chances. Now just trying to keep the Astros from really erupting here after scoring twice in the 8th. Reddick, Gentry, and Moss are due up in the Oakland 9th. And straight back, it's 2-2.
Good swing, but still that inability to square it up.
Gregerson has a career ERA against the Astros of 5.56. in 12 outings. Always good to see the military folks recognized during Astros games, and that happened a short time ago. Ground ball, Lowry to his left, spins, and no throw home. He gets the out at first, And it's 6-3 Astros. Springer gets the RBI. Lowry started to throw to the plate, then he held on to the ball and threw to first instead.
Good base running, good jump, good speed by Dexter Fowler. The reasons that Lowry didn't make that throw to the plate. Right there, look, immediately Fowler gets that movement toward the plate. And that was pretty smart play by Jed Lowry. Nice play on top of it.
Now 6-3. Springer gets his second Major League RBI. Castro to second base. One out for Mark Krause. Krause is 0 for 2 with a walk.
Every run big.
Foul ball for strike one. Well, especially with the Astros bullpen situation tonight. Nobody warming up in that Astros bullpen right now. Jerome Williams had an 8th inning that went well. He gave up a single, but that was followed by a double play ball back to him. So he's worked an inning in 2/3, and it appears he's coming out for the 9th. Strike to Krause, and he falls behind 0-2. There's Carter on deck. Ball wide of first base. Checking the Astros runs by inning this year. Interesting, Ash. In the 7th inning of their games, the Astros have been outscored by their opponents 24-9. In the 8th, with the 3 runs they have here, they have outscored their opponents 7-4. And in the 9th inning of their games this year, they've been outscored 21-0.
Ooh, that's kind of frightening, but when you look at 7 and 17, maybe some of the answers as to why.
Grounded foul again.
Have not scored a run in the 9th inning.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising to see that.
That's a lot of games to have played and have that kind of a stat.
Yes, it is.
Of course, you'd love to have it stay that way tonight. Just don't hit in the 9th inning.
They're 3-9 in this ballpark. That one almost hit him. He skipped rope and it got by Jaso. Getting Castro to third base on the wild pitch.
A golden opportunity presented to pick up another tally. Just a little delayed in that commitment by Jaso to get down.
Now, this is a different look for the infield. The infield is in as you would expect, but with the shift on, takes on a different look. Quinto a little bit deeper, and Lowry on the pull side, of course. Krause lays off, and it's 2-2.
There was a shift on I saw in one of yesterday's games where a team had brought an outfielder in, and they had 4 men on one side.
Oh, really? We have seen some different looks from teams the last couple of years with all these shifts. Porter went with a 5-man infield successfully earlier this season at Texas. Krause hits a ground ball off the glove of Donaldson. He throws to first and gets the out. Castro scoring, and a great job by Krause of making solid contact, hitting the ball hard with 2 outs to get another run home. 7-3 now.
You know, Donaldson was breaking toward the bag, and there's only one reason he's not clairvoyant about what's coming off the bat. I believe the A's had a pickoff throw set up between Jaso, the catcher, and Donaldson. Watch Donaldson breaking. It sets up as if he knew the ball was going to be hit there, but that's just not feasible.
Yeah, that looked like a stroke of genius the way it turned out, didn't it?
I know Bob Melvin's good, but come on.
That was incredible. Now a 4-run inning has the Astros up 7-3. Carter the batter. Carter has a homer and a walk, and it's strike one. Krause picked up RBI number 5 of the season. So he and Springer both with back-to-back runs batted in on groundouts as the Astros make some contact, some productive contact here in the 4-run 8th. And they've struck out so much. This is a great example of how to avoid the strikeouts and get these extra runs home.
Yeah. Sometimes it's about making contact, taking advantage of opportunities to drive in runs. It's not always a team that hits .330 with men in scoring position like the Cardinals a year ago.
1-2. Alex Presley's on deck. 8 hits and no errors for both clubs tonight. Oakland has stranded 5, Houston 2. Carter takes it. 2-2. We're talking about Chris's that first of the 2 home runs he hit in Seattle. He was reminding us that came on an 0-2 pitch. And the strikeout ends it in the Astros 8th. They come up with 4 runs on 4 hits. It's the bobblehead karma, and it's 7-3 Houston. Mobilizing your world. Astros immobilized their assets and scored 4 runs in the 8th inning. They lead at 7-3 now, going to the 9th. Jerome Williams in a position to be the winning pitcher. He comes back out for the 9th inning with Reddick, Gentry, and Moss due to bat against him. And for Jerome, it would be his first win as an Astro. He started the night 0-1 with a 5.79 ERA. Jesus Guzman takes over at first base for Mark Krause. Williams came in with 2 men on and 1 out in the 7th inning. The Astros leading 3-2. So officially he gets a blown save because the run scores and is charged to Keuchel on the sacrifice fly in the 7th by Coco Crisp. But then he pitches a scoreless 8th, and now he can pick up that W if he can get Oakland here in the 9th inning. Reddick is 1 for 3.
I wonder if Bo Porter and staff are even aware of the lucky bobblehead in the dugout there.
You know, with all their study of the detailed sabermetrics, yeah. I don't think so.
Oh gosh, I thought you were going to say yes.
No,
that's got to be a part of that study, isn't it?
We'll ask Sig Meidel. He'll know. There's ball 1.
First pitch on Reddick. You could see Williams wanted it.
And that's a foul ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. This Oakland club not to be shorted in any way because of its offensive accomplishments. Even though down by 4, get something going. And that's into right field. Reddick is 2 for 4 as he starts it off with a liner. And now Gentry comes up.
Reddick seems to have found himself here in the last week or so. He was, quite frankly, a mess offensively until the Astros came into Oakland.
Jaso has come off the bench to play at catcher, and Barton has come off the bench to play at first. Eric Sogard is the remaining left-handed pinch hitter, but he won't be called upon here by Bob Melvin. Gentry is 0 for 2 with a walk and a run score. Moss on deck. In tight, ball 1.
Don't like the falling behind ploy here in the ninth.
Still nobody up in the Houston pen. Chad Qualls threw 19 pitches in last night's game. In for a strike. 1-1. Well, it works out great for Bo Porter if Williams finishes this game and he uses only 2 hurlers in the game tonight. Day game coming tomorrow.
And no doubt, as you said, if the Astros hang on and win here, Williams will get the W. But Dallas Keuchel is going to get the I think rather lofty praise down in that clubhouse and dugout.
No doubt. 2 balls and a strike. Dallas had his 4th straight quality start tonight.
And you know, it could have gone otherwise with that first inning allowing a couple of runs. The A's just came out smoking right away. Could have really turned.
Ben Strom's lefty starter gave up a double, a single, and a single to the first 3 hitters. Then double play ball, and he got out of it. 3 balls and a strike after the A's had scored 10 runs Thursday night, 12 runs last night, and then came out firing. Things turned around quickly, starting with that double play ball hit by Donaldson in the first.
Could use one of those right here.
In for a strike to Gentry, and it's a full count.
This guy was considered somewhat of a weak offensive link for the Texas Rangers, but he comes here and he looks like he's ready to be a dynamo.
Back in 2012, he had 240 at-bats for Texas. He hit 304 that year. Last year, he hit 280 and 246 at-bats. Inside ball 4. Now first and second, nobody out.
And now look at the pitch-by-pitch brought to you by Steel Dealers. And we're talking about Dallas Keuchel. We'll stay there because he was that good tonight. Dallas Keuchel just kept getting ahead and staying there and making tough pitches. And you see high fastballs, well-spotted fastballs, breaking balls. The changeup was effective. Dallas Keuchel had one of those nights, I think, that impresses a staff as much as anything a guy could do. You fall behind early and then really put it together.
Raul Valdez is warming up for Houston. Now the Astros shift around in the infield for Brandon Moss. Moss 1 for 3. Nick Punto on deck, number 9 hitter, and it's ball 1. Williams had 37 pitches, 21 have been strikes. Jerome in Oakland 6 days ago, giving up 5 hits and 1 earned run in 3 innings. In a 4-1 loss, he threw 51 pitches. There's Valdez warming up. Reddick single, Gentry walk. Now Moss will get a 1-0 pitch. So with Valdez getting loose, you look down and see Punto switch hitter next, then switch hitter Crisp, and lefty hitting Jaso. drive to right field. Springer all the way back, watching this one go, and that is a 3-run homer. 7-6 ball game as Moss hits number 4, and now it's a 1-run affair with nobody out in the ninth.
Well, I guess it was foolish to think the A's were going to go down quietly here.
They have really stirred it up now, and with nobody out, they get Punto to the plate. And Chris will be next. Reddick got it started, then the walk to Gentry. Now 3-run bomb. So Moss with 4 home runs, now 20 runs batted in this season for Brandon Moss.
This forces Chad Qualls to get it loose in the bullpen. Something that I'm sure Bo Porter didn't want to have to do.
Strike 1 to Punto. Punto singled in the 7th inning. Punto is hitting for a much higher average so far as a left-handed batter, almost 100 points higher than a right-handed batter. Crisp on deck. Dominguez on the grass at third. And it's 1-1. Williams was a contender for the rotation in spring training. Didn't win that job, but came out in relief to start the season and has been used in some lengthy relief stints. 1-2. Fernando Abad and Jim Johnson, lefty and righty, going for Oakland in the bullpen as Brent Strom is the Astros bullpen. A call with Craig Bjornson on the receiving end. Popped up, but it will not be in play. So 1-2 to Nick Punto. It's a gritty Oakland bunch.
Just another example of how good they've been against Houston this year in the late innings.
Their late inning production against the Astros has been off the charts. That's a looping fly ball to right field, and that's a hit in front of Springer. That's the 4th straight Oakland A to reach base. Punto with a single, and Crisp will follow.
So how do the A's play this? Do they turn their leadoff man Coco Crisp into a bunter? Do they play some sort of running game? I have a feeling Bob Melvin's not going to just play it straight up here.
And Strom's coming out. Well, he's the manager of the club on the road. The Astros get the final at bat. They have the 7, 8, 9 hitters due up if they need a bottom of the 9th inning. Usually the manager of the road team does not play for a tie in the 9th inning. But the way things are going in this season series and with Oakland's dominance in late innings, that might happen.
Yeah, I wonder if you feel like your bullpen outmatches the other teams.
Right.
If you might be more inclined to do that.
That could. That'd be the way he feels tonight.
Stay tuned for Astros postgame live, presented by Jack in the Box.
They'll have plenty to go over in this one. Layla Rahimi and Matt Thomas. Coco Crisp, the batter. He has a double and a sac fly. He also stole third and scored a first inning run. Matt Dominguez in on the grass at third. Double play duck for Gonzalez and Altuve as the throw goes to first. Punto is 1 for 1 in stolen bases. Jaso's on deck. The Athletics now have 11 hits to the Astros 8. Throw to first, pretty close play. Punto diving back.
Looked like Guzman, and now again looking back toward Bo Porter as if to say, you might want to challenge this. I don't know that would be profitable.
Looked like he was in there.
Ooh,
that's a ball.
That's called low. And Williams is asking, down? Where was that? And it just seems that it has come at some of the most inopportune times for Houston pitching. Watch this pitch. At the front of the plate, is it possible that's at the bottom of the knees?
One-0 count, so the runner may start. There might be something on in terms of a hit-and-run play for Bob Melvin.
The pace of the game has become very un-Keuchel-like.
Now 2 balls, no strikes.
The ability to throw early strikes and stay ahead, un-Keuchel-like.
45 pitches for Jerome Williams, 26 of them strikes. Qualls and Valdez in the bullpen. A 1-run lead, runner at first, and nobody out in the 9th. In for a strike, 2-1. So if either of those guys does come in, there's not going to be much room for error.
Comes with a 2-0 breaking ball, finds the knees.
Willie, come on.
Crisp had a big year against Astros pitching last year. Takes that one for ball 3, and it's 3-1.
Boy, a walk right here is deadly. With nobody out, that'll put John Jaso, I would certainly think, in a bunting mode.
Crisp hit .339 against Houston last season. Belted 4 homers and drove in 10 runs. Oh, how about that? Tried to bunt and missed, and it's 3-2. That's a big surprise.
Well, like he was trying to take advantage of Matt Dominguez not in close enough in his assessment, that of Keuchel Crisp, to be able to get him. Clearly not trying to bring that bunt with him on the first base side.
No. Looking to bunt for a hit. Now 3-2. Time called. Everybody watching Punto over at first to see what's going on with him, perhaps taking off on the pitch. Williams has struck out 1 tonight. He's at 48 pitches. Punto not going. It's a grounder back to Williams. On to Marlin. No throw to first base. And he got tangled up at second with Punto going in, and it's out number 1 from 1 to 6.
There were a couple of tangles on the play. One, Jerome Williams couldn't make the clean and quick transition to getting the throw. There's a little bobble there, and then get it started, and now Marwin got tied up. Otherwise, you got yourself a double play, 2 outs, and the base is empty, which was exactly what you needed. Now what you have is the speed of Keuchel Crisp at first base.
And Jerome Williams comes out of the game after 49 pitches, 29 of them strikes. It'll be Jaso coming up, and the lefty Valdez coming in to face him with the score 7-6 Houston in the 9th inning. More in a moment.
Hashtag CSNH fan photo. This is for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game telecast. It's the Comcast Sportsnet fan photo brought to you by AT&T. Guys.
Thank you, Julia. Raul Valdez, the veteran lefty, native of Havana, Cuba, 36 years old, comes in. Lefty's 1 for 4 against him in his 2 1/3 innings so far this season. And also with Coco Crisp, a base stealer on at first. It may be tougher for him to go against the lefty Valdez than it would have been against a right-hander.
And Valdez has also had issues with staying in the strike zone, issuing walks.
Right to Jaso. Jaso's 0 for 1 tonight. Norris, the starter at catcher, was 2 for 3, and then Jaso came in the 7th inning. Crisp is 7 for 7 this season.
But what Valdez has on his side is some success that came yesterday against the Oakland A's, scoreless over an inning and a third.
He's high with that pitch. That evens a count of 1-1. Jaso is 0 for 3 against left-handed pitching this year. So does not get many opportunities to play with the right-handed hitting Derek Norris platooning at catcher with him. Valdez pitched to one of the games in Oakland, 2/3 of an inning, gave up a run. That's a strike, and it's 1-2 to Jaso. Valdez has 1 career save.
You want to up your stock with an organization, come in a situation like this and shut the door.
His save was in 2010 with the New York Mets. Foul ball back. Jed Lowry is on deck. Double play here ends the game. If Lowry bats, he's a slightly better hitter this year as a left-handed batter. Swing and a miss, and Jaso strikes out. 2 outs.
No inclination showed at all by the A's to have Crisp on the move.
Brent Strom comes out. Lowry the batter. He's 1 for 4, an RBI single his first time up. Both of Lowry's home runs have come as a left-handed batter this year.
To get in this ballpark with that short left field porch and the wind as you look at the flags in center field blowing out toward left field, comes awfully inviting for both right and left-hand hitters. Some of this talk could have to do with making sure you provide the best chance to keep the ball in the yard.
Lowry has hit very well against the Astros this season.
And then there's one other thing. Josh Donaldson waits on deck, and I imagine that's the last thing Bo Porter and Brent Strom want to see is him come to the plate.
Excellent point. It was Lowry who led American League shortstops in slugging percentage and extra base hits last year. Infield shifted around. Dominguez close to the line at third. And there's a strike. And the concern is that Crisp might be able to score on an extra base hit. And with his speed, that will take some hustle if this hit reaches the outfield. They're playing well off the lines. The right and left fielders pinching way in toward the alleys. Lots of room down the line. 1-1. Well, he's been hitting that right center field gap pretty well against the Astros. Runner takes off, and there's a foul pop going out of play. So Crisp, that time, set sail for second base after not attempting anything earlier.
And Valdez has been doing a nice job. He's quick to the plate. it would seem he would provide a nice shot for Jason Castro. But I think the A's are kind of down to that moment where they're trying to figure out some way, how do we push one more across?
This game has just been packed full of late inning scoring. Oakland got 1 in the 7th, Houston 4 in the 8th, Oakland 3 in the 9th so far. And the throw goes over on Crisp. Raul Valdez last year pitched 17 games for the Phillies in the major leagues. Pitched at Lehigh Valley the rest of the time. Their AAA club. He was the starting pitcher there. 14 starts. And Lowry strikes out, and that does it for the Astros. They have broken Oakland's stranglehold on them this season. Valdez becomes the 4th different Astro to get a save this season. And it's his first major league save since 2010 and the 2nd of his career. Oakland came storming back on the 3-run Moss homer here in the 9th, but it's Valdez who slams the door, striking out Jaso and Lowry and preserving the Astros 7-6 win.